Hi Aquarius! So this is your pick a card for what your Akashic Records want to tell you guys at this moment in time to do with 2021. So just be mindful, these videos are relevant anytime in 2021. You can come back to them at a later point and you'll probably get a different pile, and that's completely the way that these videos have been designed and how I've channeled these messages out of the Akashic Records. Then also be mindful, this will also be relevant if you have Sun, Moon or Rising sign in Aquarius. We're going to do a little bit of the astrology in the beginning, and you want to think about if you're a rising sign Aquarius, this will be relevant on a more predictive level in terms of what outside circumstances might kick off. If you're Aquarius moon, this is potentially how you're going to start to feel emotional or emotionally stimulated in what we're going to talk about, where your desires might pull you to in some instincts. And if you are Aquarius sun, you might find what we talk about is where you're going to feel inspired or have vitality in 2021. So think of it in that kind of way. The other thing to mention is I've also designed these really so that they can be a pick a card, a wild pick a card in themselves. And that is essentially anytime in 2021, you can come to this channel and ask your intuition which zodiac sign holds the answer to what you most need to hear right now. And you might hear something like Libra, even if you have nothing particularly significant in any of your astrology charts to do with Libra. Trust that is the answer that you most need to hear right now, because the Akashic Records are phenomenal and awesome, and they totally work in a non-linear way. So also know that you can use these in this kind of wild card type of way. Cool. So now just to go quickly onto the astrology, I am sure so many of you Aquarius know this is an epically big year for Aquarius energy, Aquarius archetypes, Aquarius themes, anything Aquarius. This is really, really big, and this really comes because Saturn and Jupiter, the great conjunction, happened at the end of December 2020 in the sign of Aquarius. This is massive. It happens every 20 years, but this is significant because from now on, for the next 200 years, this conjunction of Saturn-Jupiter, which happens every 20 years, will always happen in an air sign, whereas previously for the past 200 years, it's always been in an earth sign, apart from 1 year, and I think that was the year that the internet got developed. So you can see so many technology things are going to happen: scientific breakthroughs, technology breakthroughs, communication breakthroughs, connection breakthroughs. There's going to be so much to do with that coming up from now on in for like a whole 200-year cycle. Obviously AI, artificial intelligence, AI, alien intelligence, all of this sort of stuff is going to be coming in, and this really is like the inception of it. And obviously for you guys this is massive, because if you are Aquarius rising, this is particularly going to happen in your first house. So this means essentially 2021, expect to have some radical breakthroughs to do with how you see yourself and how the world sees you. And this will be, it's not even like this is a new chapter, this is a completely new book in a completely different part of the library for you. It's a completely different theme, it's a new book, it's a new author, it's just completely different. And I think it's going to be incredibly exciting, but sometimes it will be draining, because whenever you have a lot of radical shifts going off, obviously this means that your energy field is constantly adapting to changes, and that in itself can be tiring. So just make sure that you watch out, that you rejuvenate yourself enough, and that you have downtime, that you allow for some integration time as well with all of these things that will be heading off for you. So that's just something to be mindful of. Also be mindful of February the 17th, June the 14th and December the 24th. And I would say plus or minus a week either side of those dates. And if you're really sensitive, give yourself 3 weeks either side of those dates, because this is when there's going to be an exact astrology moment to do with this Saturn square Jupiter energy, which is in your sign of Aquarius. So the sort of things that you can expect during that time period is you might get radical inspiration and ideas. So like ideas from cosmic consciousness just get channeled through you, and you suddenly have an aha moment about something. The other thing is you can often have this thing about there might be an ending in one area of your life and a rebirth in another area of your life. And the image that I got with this is you want to think about these moments as like plugging in electricity. You know, sometimes where you plug in the electricity with the plug, it might actually turn on a device which is in the opposite side end of the room. It's kind of that kind of energy. So expect things to be connected, although they might not obviously logically appear connected. And that's the sort of things that you might find an ending in one place and a new beginning in another place, something like that. And then the other thing is, this is really about you basically finding opportunity within external instability. I really feel like for a lot of you guys, there's going to be a lot of opportunities, but they're going to occur in areas or situations that appear very unstable, maybe volatile, maybe a bit extreme, maybe a bit radical, and particularly around those dates we mentioned. And again, I've got this image of kind of like an earthquake, that in having an earthquake and creating a crack in the ground, it actually opens up a new resource in some way. Like, I don't know if you see some crazy crystals under there, or there's something like a whole load of oil or whatever. That is just as a metaphor, by the way, because the other thing I would say is, over this next 20 years and 200 years, it's all going to end up being recyclable energy. I mean, do you know what I mean? It's just the way it's going. Anyway, and then the one other thing you might find during those time periods is you might get freedom or independence or liberation that comes through something complicated or something a bit chaotic. And it could almost be like it's not a full... I don't know, there's just something quite chaotic about some of the independence and liberation moments that you might experience. So you just want to be open to that and almost like create your own anchoring within instability. I do feel like that will be super, super important. And the other thing just to be mindful of is Saturn, this energy that's going to be in your sign, will be there until basically the 7th of March 2023. So this Saturn is going to be in your sign for a long time, and Saturn will definitely be requiring you to step up, show up, take accountability, take authority and responsibility in new ways that you haven't really done before. Particularly I feel about how you contribute to the world and how you help society, help humanity, something like that. It's going to be really important. So you know, this connectivity is going to be really key. And one other thing that I did really get to do with this as well, just in general, is I feel like sometimes in Aquarius energy, and I can say this because I have like Aquarius, my Mercury is in Aquarius and my Venus is also in Aquarius. So I have quite a lot of that sort of energy of Aquarius, and my Uranus is right at the very bottom of my nadir. It conjuncts the bottom of my nadir and the bottom part of my chart. And I can tell you there's this sort of vibe that we all have to be mindful of, which is, just remember this one thing, and this is the exact words I got, which is, if you isolate in communities, still remember you are not immune to what is happening in the greater community, in the greater collective. So I often think that Aquarius can have this thing about, okay, I'll go off and I'll just do a community by myself. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that at all, but I just know that the Akashic Records just came through. But just remember, you still will not be immune to what is going on in the collective. And no matter how much you isolate yourself or segment yourself into different communities, you will still be connected to the collective, because you are a human being in this human experience and we're all in it together. So there's just something about being mindful about, I think, be careful not to get too cliquey in some way, because it's just going to potentially... Don't know, Saturn doesn't want you to do it, basically. Saturn does not want you to get cliquey. Saturn wants you to take on greater responsibility, and not necessarily doing that by just grouping in communities that make sense to you. It's kind of like Saturn would be the energy of like a government, and it's sort of like an idea of you taking responsibility for more than just your own personal unique identity, which it does want you to do that. It also just wants you to almost like share that unique identity that you have with all of the world, with all of the different communities, with all of the different belief systems. Like Saturn doesn't want you to keep your uniqueness to yourself, or keep your uniqueness to a group or a community which also vibrates at the same frequency as you. I suppose Saturn wants you to go out and to share your uniqueness in whatever way that is on a much bigger scale. And sometimes I do feel like that will feel uncomfortable, but that is something that Saturn's going to call to you to do from like basically over the next 2.5 years. So just really just be mindful about that, because it's just something to consider. And because I know often like this Aquarius energy archetype, you know, we can have this kind of like alien feeling, or you know, that we're just not quite that maybe we're on the fringe in some way, that we just don't quite resonate with the collective in some kind of way. And yet actually Saturn really wants you to start sharing this with the collective rather than segregating yourself off from the collective. And I think there might be a bit of a push-pull with that on quite a lot of bigger scales, as you see a lot more people maybe go off onto more of a community, like their own little community. And although this is good, it's almost like, I don't know, the Akashic Records are saying that the growth isn't in doing that. That will be a comfortable way, or more comfortable way, to deal with situations, when actually the expanded growth and the highest potential of the situation is to lean into almost like that discomfort of stepping outside of a group or a community that sees things the way that you do, and actually start to interact and integrate with people that see things in a different way to you. But doing it in a place where, a bit like a Gemini archetype now, it's more about like sharing different perspectives and discussing and playful debate and that kind of thing that's going off. So just kind of consider that as well. Also, just know October the 10th is an important date, because Saturn will basically station direct. It will station direct at 6 degrees of Aquarius. So if any of you have got your ascendant, your sun or your moon at 6 degrees of Aquarius, October the 10th, that time period, plus or minus, I would say 2 weeks, is going to be significant to you. So pay attention. And also just know that Saturn will move from 0 to 13 degrees Aquarius. So if you have anything from 0 to 13 degrees of Aquarius, Saturn will come onto that point in your chart at some point. And this is really when it's going to be asking you, like, I feel there's a good chance you will feel restricted if you are not allowing your uniqueness or your authenticity to be like being shared out around you. I've got a feeling Saturn will come in and ask you to step up your game with that. If you're already doing it, it will help give you moments of enhancements. And if you're not doing it at those points, I feel like Saturn will come in and probably do its usual thing of like cracking the whip in some way, which will be more uncomfortable. So I definitely say if you've got anything from 0 to 13 degrees of Aquarius in your birth chart, definitely try and make sure that you've got into a more open and comfortable place with expressing your uniqueness in a way that is responsible, not erratic or rebellious. Because if you're not in that situation by the time Saturn comes over those points, you're just, you know what it is, you probably just get a little bit of a telling off, do you know what I mean, by Saturn, the planet as it were. So it's not like it's going to be a big deal, but it's just like, this is a moment that you could leverage yourself. You could either get brownie points from Saturn, which will help elevate you in some way, or you can get a little bit of a telling off, and obviously it's not like it will put you backwards, but you just won't get the elevation that was available at that time. So just kind of consider that as well. I'm sorry guys, but there was loads coming out, so I've just got a couple more things that I do really need to say. Yeah, just round about January the 14th, just trust me, this is an important moment with Uranus. So pay attention to what's happening for you round about January the 14th. And to be honest, all of January and February, Mars is going to be actively moving through your 4th house. This is for Aquarius, rising ascendant. And basically what this will mean is, it's in the house of like your roots, personal fulfillment, your deepest psychology, almost like a part of your lineage, where you come from, your home, your childhood, your mother, all of this kind of vibration. And I do think there's going to be a lot that goes off in one or a couple of those themes during January and February. And I do really think something is probably going to have got stimulated from round about the 14th of January. So please pay attention to what happens around the 14th of January, because the universe is going to be potentially giving you some sudden awareness or insight about something you need to pay attention to. And then it's about integrating that awareness very quickly and in a very practical sense, I feel like, within these areas of like your home, your living arrangement, emotional fulfillment, emotional stability, connection with your tribe. And I mean in terms of your birth tribe, you know, the ancestors and the lineages that you come from. Definitely something will be coming up around then. And I do think it's important to pay attention, because also during that time period, which I say Mars is going through this 4th house in January and February, Mars will also interact all of the outer planets at some point during that time period. So again, I feel like this is a real, the universe is wanting you to level up and really wanting to inspire you to do with getting your roots, getting almost like, I'm seeing an image of somebody basically packing their bag to go off on an amazing adventure, but like packing the bag and making sure that they've got all the important things in the bag so that they can go into many different circumstances and still be strong and stable. That's kind of the image about what I'm getting the universe is going to be asking you to do sort of January and February. And it definitely relates about your childhood, where you're from, your roots, potentially even your mother or your father, depending on how it goes. So think about that, because that I can feel is really important. And like I say, it will be something that gets triggered around about January the 14th. And then, so last couple of things to say is Jupiter will be basically in your sign all of 2021. Amazing. I am a massive Jupiter fan. I feel like Jupiter also loves Aquarius because it's a forward thinking energy, and I think Jupiter's a forward thinking energy. So it's sort of futuristic. It sees the bigger picture as well. So this is going to be awesome for you throughout the whole of 2021. And I do think to some extent it might help to cushion any harshness to do with Saturn being in your first house. However, Saturn will also be good for you guys because it was originally your ancient ruler. So you will have a real innate understanding and appreciation of Saturn ultimately. And I do think that that's something where you will have a greater understanding of your own responsibility and accountability, and wanting to create something of a lineage over 2021. I think this is really going to get stimulated for you. But anyway, Jupiter be really positive for you, but also during May, June and July it's just going to nip into Pisces for a bit. I do feel like during May, June and July, if you can, where you can, definitely get some downtime, allow things to process, kind of allow yourself to just have downtime, because then I really feel like your sub and unconscious mind can help to start to process everything that's happened almost in those first 5 months. And I do feel like a lot will go off for you really quickly. And then you need this downtime for a few months, so then things will really speed up again when Jupiter goes back into your sign in basically the end of July. So please get some downtime if you can during May, June and July. If you don't have to rush making decisions then, I would just be mindful, take your time with making decisions then as well, because this is a processing time period. I really, really do feel like that. And then just because, to be honest, obviously so much came out, even when I was just thinking about your astrology, and I did just get a few other things as well, just a little bit random, but obviously I've mentioned a couple, like just be mindful of isolating in communities, because no one will be immune to what is starting to happen in collective consciousness. Even if you don't like what is happening, let's say in the general consensus reality, it's still, you are a part of that reality, definitely with Saturn being in your sign, because Saturn is all about consensus reality in some ways. So just it's finding a blending point between, it's finding a blending point between wanting to be independent from what's happening, but also appreciating you are still part of everything that's happening. And then it's finding a solution that honours both of those perspectives. This is what I feel very, very strongly. This other really cool thing randomly came out as well, and this is just for everybody anyway, but so particularly for you guys, is there's this thing about, and this is abstract, so you need to go with it, storage of potential is key. It's so key, because it's this kind of thing about how ultimately things are really going to go more towards renewable energy and stuff like that. But then there becomes this thing about how do you store all of this renewable energy? How do we store all of this energy? And storage is going to become a big kind of thing into the future long term. But this really applies to you on like a metaphorical level in some way. You know, it's about you being able to store your potential. How can you store your potential so that you can use it at different points and you can access it at different points as well? Because the thing about, you know, Aquarius and Uranus energy, it's like a lightning bolt. It can come out of nowhere, and as quick as it's come, it's gone. It kind of needs to be grounded almost straight away so that it's used instead of it's lost in the ether. So any ways that you can develop within yourself when you can start to store your potential. And I do feel like, I know this is quite abstract, but it will be, if I just give an example of, if you're a writer, an entrepreneur, anybody that does anything off ideas, let's say, you know, it's definitely about having one place that you write all of these ideas down, because I'm kind of seeing like the more that you have a storage for whatever is your potential, the more the universe can give you more of it, because you've got something where you can put all of this. And I'm just going to leave it as broad as that because it really will mean different things for all of you. But I can't tell you why, I just know that storing potential is really, really important, and almost like having good databases of stuff so that it can be accessed at different points. So the organization of stuff is also really, really important, and that would work in so many different ways. Because if I just give you an image of this one, it's like, say, let's say this. Say like YouTube, you've got a YouTube channel, just let's use it as an example because this is what my guides are showing me. You've got a YouTube channel, you've had it for, I don't know, 8 years, you've stored all of your videos somewhere else, because ultimately something happens where another channel suddenly comes up, and actually if you've got all of your storage already logged, you can quickly transfer it and upload it onto another system, which then gives you almost like you're going to be right at the potential of a new thing seeding and birthing itself, and you're going to be able to leverage it and maximize it as much as possible, because your storage, how you've stored stuff, allows you to quickly make use of it in the best way to get these sudden opportunities at the most opportune moment. And that's kind of like just a like a metaphorical example of what I'm being shown. But see how that relates to you and your life in whatever way, because opportunities are going to come very, very quick, and it's about almost, I don't know, it's something about how you've stored stuff, how you've logged stuff, like how you have organized stuff will allow you to either quickly optimize whatever is coming up, or potentially you'll miss the boat because you don't have that same sort of organization of storage. And I just can feel this is so important. And then one last thing that I also want to say is that came out really strong for you guys, and also just for all of us, and I will do just a general brief one of everything that's come out of the Akashic Records for 2021, because obviously there's a lot, because it's an important year. There's this thing about this, I just got these words: always remember there is always a third way, Aquarius, always. Find the third way. And this is like a tradition. A new tradition meets an old convention. This is the third way. A new tradition meets an old convention. And I think it was really interesting the way I was channeled that as well, because almost like you would think like new, I don't know, there's just something about it that's just really important. And I'm not going to say any more than that because it will be different for all of you, but find the third way. And a bit like this whole thing about, are you going to go into a community, or are you going to just go into a certain kind of clique, or are you going to stay with the collective? But I feel there's a third way that utilizes both of those. And for humanity to move forward, it's about finding this third way. And I do actually really feel that ultimately the Saturn conjunct Jupiter on a really deep metaphysical and also psychological, and in some people's circumstances even physical, will really, really be pushing this to get integrated into reality. Like, it's not duality, it's a third way, and the third way makes use of both, both opposites, as it were. So just kind of remember that too. Woo, cool. So let me just have a little more look. Is there anything else I wanted to say? Just want to have a quick look at your chart. Just give me 1 second. What else? Oh yeah, I just want to say as well, your subconscious mind, your unconscious mind, your spiritual life, because this is all to do with your 12th house. The 12th house, I do think, is a really active house for a lot of you, and definitely for quite a few of you as well that have ascendant rising Aquarius. You actually might find that you still have, because I don't really, when it comes to our charts, I don't do whole signs. I think it's important to be really specific to the degree. So some of you might find that you have a lot of this energy in your 12th house. And regardless anyway, this 12th house energy of the subconscious, of like spirituality, of collective consciousness, of kind of like that space that Pisces has access to, so that psychic space, is going to be really prominent for you guys during 2021. So again, this is why you've got to have a little bit of downtime. You've got to allow some space for these ideas and these kind of processings to go off. I can feel that's really important. But yeah, there's so many more things that I can say, but I'm just going to do that on a general video for everybody because, yeah, let's go into your reading now. But that just gives you a bit of an idea. So the first thing that I've done for everybody is we're just going to pull a card and just see what the Akashic Records just generally want to say to all of you Aquarius. About 2021, so let's see. Oh wow. Okay, so we have 8 of matches, So 8 of matches is obviously 8 of wands. I mean, I think this makes total and utter sense. Guys, stuff is going to happen for you in 2021. And, you know, anybody that's got personal planets or significant stuff going off in Aquarius, depending if you just randomly came to this reading, it's, you know, this is a significant year. And one of the really big things as well, I do really feel, and I got this generally for a lot of people, but it's definitely relevant to you guys as well, this Aquarius energy, like with this card. I do feel like a lot of you have maybe worked on yourself, have been striving for stuff, have maybe been working like to, I don't know, heal stuff, manifest with the law of attraction, essentially almost use like your 5D consciousness, that more kind of spiritual consciousness, to create opportunities and manifestations in your life. And I do feel for a lot of you it still hasn't reached its peak or its optimum, and for some of you it might not really have even given you much so far. And I do really feel like 2021 is the changing of all of that. It's this thing in shamanic astrology, I think I've mentioned this before actually, that basically in shamanic astrology they always think wherever you have Aquarius, if you've got important personal planets in Aquarius, it's a case of often you will come to your full potential a bit later on in life, because it's almost like you've come in with a slightly more, I don't want to say higher consciousness, it's just more like it's a very unique, different consciousness, and it takes longer to understand how to integrate that consciousness in the physical 3D world, because it's very, very different to the consciousness that you come in with. So it takes time, it's an adjustment time. There's quite a big adjustment time for people that have personal planets or significant points in Aquarius in their birth chart. However, the potential is massive once it finds a way to integrate itself into this reality. And I really do feel like with the 8 of wands, this is totally something that's really going to be speeding up for you, and it's going to start happening for you. And if it's already happening, it will happen to a whole new level. Wherever you're at, basically, with almost using your spiritual and 5D self to like manifest and heal and all the rest of it, that's going to accelerate epically. However, and my guides are really coming in with this strong, you can't make it all about that either, because with Saturn being so significant in your astrology this year, and with Saturn being so much about 3D reality, it really, really is about finding this true integration of your human self with your spiritual self, of like manifesting with the law of attraction and healing with like, I don't know, energy or whatever, but at the same time manifesting in physical reality with actions and healing in physical reality with distinctive choices and actions, etc. And I do really feel like this will be rapid, and I do feel as well it will be in some ways a rapid learning experience, but then also as well there just will be this thing of lightning bolt awarenesses that you will get, ideas out of nowhere. You guys particularly will naturally have access to the Akashic Records. Like I always think anybody with Mercury in Aquarius, I really feel like you've just got this natural thing to going into the Akashic Records, and I do have that in my own astrology, just because it's almost like you have a link to those different aspects. And also if you've got, you know, Uranus in Aquarius, you'll definitely have more of that kind of vibe too. So yeah, I feel like you'll be able to tap into these kind of energies more, but then it's really going to be a learning lesson of how to also integrate this effectively into physical 3D reality. And I will really say this, I do really feel like you have to be mindful of Saturn and the 3D reality, because if in some ways you try to not consider that in whatever way it might be, I do think Saturn won't be lenient with you this year to do with that. So essentially it's using your physical and your spiritual self to manifest stuff. And I do, like I say, things will happen rapidly, they'll happen really quick as well, and really sudden, and almost very kind of like, just watch out for gung-ho energy within yourself, because there'll be that natural energy that comes around like boom, all in a certain direction. And so the more that you can just be mindful of that energy within you, the less you will get epic resonance when those situations naturally occur in 2021. And if you get resonance with these, because you've already got that gusto, kind of like impulsive kind of energy within you, I do feel like this is when you need to be mindful, because you could blow a circuit. And I mean that metaphysically, or not metaphysically, metaphorically. So just be mindful of this. There's lots of energy coming in, find a way to ground. And I'm also hearing from probably a lot of you, just maybe have some sort of protocol with EMF, electromagnetic frequencies, anything like that, because you just want to make sure you need to have your energy grounded and solid as much as you can. And if you can't do that, it's like you need to have like an earthing stick. You need to have certain people or situations or scenarios or routines that will actually be like a grounding stick for you. And I think it's really important to try and make sure that you've got this going throughout the whole of 2021, because stuff will be rapid and it will move fast. And there's just so many changes that are going to go on for you. So it is really, really exciting, but at the same time, you just have to make sure, you know, Uranus is exciting, but Saturn is serious. And it's that combination of being able to blend like the exciting with the serious and the spiritual with the physical, and like the electrifying with the grounded. It's bringing all of those together and finding this third way, right? Again, like we said, like find the third way. Bring the maverick energy of Uranus and the fast sudden energy of Uranus, but with also the responsible and the grounded and the practical energy of Saturn, and blend this together. And I truly feel like this is how you will create your highest potential that is possible in 2021, through like working with that kind of principle. And also this storage thing keeps coming up. I don't know what this is because it's different for all of you, but storage is really important to do with however it works. And you've got to think of it more, think out of the box when I'm saying storage as well. Think with your Uranus type of energy, think out of the box, think maverick, think unique about what this means personally to you, about finding a way to store your potential and therefore access your potential at any moment, and also being able to access your potential suddenly when the time comes, because I do feel like the time will come and you want to be ready. So yeah, I feel like this will also be a real heart-opening year for you guys too. To be honest, so much is going to go on. It's hard to say it all, it's just too much. But anyway, letters. So we've got 3 piles, so see which one is the one for you. So this is message number 1. And this is the crystal for message number 1. This is message number 2. And this is the crystal for message number 2. And then this is the stone for number 3. And then this is the crystal for message number 3. Cool, so I'll meet you over on your message, and first we'll go to message number 1. So hi guys, so this is for everybody that chose message number 1 for what the Aquarius archetype wants to tell you at this moment in time in 2021 from the Akashic Records. So we'll put the crystal to one side and we will channel that in the extended. So I'm just going to put that there. I love that colour. Now let's go straight into your stone. So what do the Akashic Records want to tell you guys about 2021? So the first thing I'm hearing is feet first and head first. And really what I'm getting with that is I do really feel like things are going to come up suddenly and you're going to have to almost, to some extent, you're going to have to go with it. Almost, I don't know, you're just going to have to go fully commit with the way that life is pulling things for you, because I'm hearing that basically this sort of Uranus energy is really wanting you to, it's going to be very, very direct and very, very kind of like forceful with how it wants you to focus your energy in 2021. And I'm really hearing that you can't really resist it. It's more just a case of like well, are you just going to go tentatively as possible with these new changes that are coming on, or literally are you going to go head and feet first? And actually, you know, the Akashic Records are saying go head and feet first, and what I'm getting with that is just go fully committed. Go fully committed, because that's going to be important. And I'm hearing as well that hesitation at some of these moments could cause further complications later down the line in some kind of way. So again, it's this, I'm not even getting that it's trust. I'm getting that it's more like athletic. It's almost like being able to respond really quickly to events. Like I'm seeing basketball players, football players, netball players, and I'm seeing them as a team having to quickly respond in the moment as the ball is going around the court in whatever way that is. And that's the sort of energy that you're going to be stepping into in 2021. Or any time that you're listening to this reading, this is something that's really important to consider. But I'm also hearing as well, like life has been training you for this year for a long time. So a bit again, like I'm seeing, let's say the basketball players, they've played as a team for a really long time, and now they're going into a really important tournament. So even though things are constantly, so first of all play this team, then play the next team, then play the next team, even though lots of things and situations are going to be coming up quickly, this isn't anything that you can't handle, because I'm hearing that you've been in training for this for like a decade or longer, whether you realise it or not. And so a lot of what's going to come up for you is asking you almost to be in a flow state. So, you know, like when athletes get into that state of just complete flow, where it's almost like you're not having to consciously think about it. It's more like of an unconscious kind of flow state with everything that's going on. And I'm being shown as well, this is where it's very much more like this Uranus energy rather than the Mercury energy, where the Mercury might at some points think a bit more, whereas Uranus can just have like the sudden intuitive like download and then boom, is off with it, and it goes in that kind of flow state. And I do really feel like that's something that you need to consider. And also I'm hearing that you will have flow, because wherever you have experience, you naturally over time develop flow, just because it's almost like the experience and the wisdom in whatever area of life it is that gives you that innate appreciation of flow. So again, I feel like these are areas where you're going to have to make choices quickly, where you do have experience. There is experience here. And that's why you can also fully commit and go head and feet first in, because what I'm talking about are not opportunities that seem completely, that you're completely unprepared for, as in you're way out of your depth. I'm really not hearing that. And again, with Saturn being in your sign, Saturn does have this more like grounded, more practical, more kind of stabilizing effect. So again, I feel like, you know, the opportunities that you can go head and feet first in, they'll come up very quickly, but it's an area of life that you are very experienced in. You have wisdom in this area. So it's not that you're going to need to be irrational or do things risky. It's more that you're then going to have to do things from a state of true flow. That's really kind of like the energy and vibe that I'm getting. That's cool. And funny enough, and this is the bizarre thing, what I'm talking about doesn't sound very stable, but as I'm feeling it through your Akashic Records, it is actually very, very stable. Because again, it's like this, again, like the team that's playing basketball tournament, but they've played together for years. They know each other intimately. They've even played a lot of these teams before. Like, many things are known. It's just that now the pace is speeding up, and it's the speeding up of pace that makes it feel like things are unknown. Where actually, if they actually logically took a step back and thought about it, yeah, but we've played as a team for years. We've even played at this venue many times before. We've even played almost majority of the teams in the tournament before, and we know the players. So very little is actually, funny enough for this pile, unknown, but it just may appear unknown because it comes very fast, it comes very sudden. But actually, it's like, if you really just take a moment to stop and think, you'll realise, no, wait a minute, no, I do understand this, I get this, and then you can get into this state of flow. Because it's not like you're going to have to trust, I don't feel, because trust isn't so much flow. Flow is just this fully integrated awareness of yourself in a situation, where it's been, where it's going, and you can, without really thinking, fit into that momentum. So yeah, that's the sort of vibe that I'm getting there. Right, let's get some cards. I do feel really excited for this Uranus Aquarius energy. Don't get me wrong, I do think it's definitely, for sure, it's going to have its challenges, absolutely. But you know what, it's just a lot faster, lighter energy. Although obviously Saturn will come in and will try and like slow it down and ground it a bit. And that's why as well I'm really getting for this pile that whatever happens in 2021, it's actually more preparing you for like, or really 2024, when Pluto then comes into your sign of Aquarius. So you've got to think 2021, 2022, 2023, you'll still be able to build and you're developing, but the real big something is 2024. So there is almost like, again, I'm seeing basketball, a layup before the slam dunk. But let's just see. Oh, this is interesting. So I always get shown slightly different ways of laying out the cards because it has greater meaning apparently. So, and yours is kind of coming off like this. Okay, let's see what we have. So start here. Okay, so in the centre we have Knight of Blades, which is actually Knight of Swords. So that's that fast thinking, impulsive, decisive, gung-ho energy again. Be mindful of this gung-ho energy. Then we have Six of Blades, which is Six of Swords. So that's almost like a real success energy right at the very top of your spread. And yeah, I do really get this feeling like there is, a bit like this tournament I keep seeing, there is, and obviously that's metaphorical, there is a number of situations and things you're going to go through in 2021, but I do really feel like it leads you to the gold medal at the end. But I also feel like it's a bit of a group effort as well. This is more than just you doing something solo. Okay, then we have, and it also feels like it's something you've been working on for quite a while as well, way longer, like I say, like a decade, or it's a long time you've been working on this as a soul. So then we have Page of Matches. Okay. Then we have, oh wow, Nine of Matches. So again, a lot of this kind of fiery, fast energy. And again, like two matches, it feels like things suddenly come out of nowhere, but then it's a case of what are you going to do with that now? Then we have, oh nice, Ten of Stones, that's Ten of Pentacles. Again, this is why I'm really feeling like there really is success for you guys. And particularly by the end of the year, I do really feel like that. But I also feel like you're truly going into a successful cycle now, which, to be honest, there'll still be a pinnacle of success in 2024. Like I say, when Pluto goes into Aquarius. Nice. And then we have Strength card. And I don't know why, but this is just, this line thing is just making me say, this is about... It's interesting. I really feel like you guys are really gonna, particularly this pile, are really gonna have to blend potentially opposing forces within you. The success comes from, again, this third way we're talking about, but opposing forces within you. Because with this card as well, I'm really getting the image of the astrology chart. And obviously in astrology, Aquarius is literally opposite Leo. So Aquarius is the 11th house, Leo is the 5th house. I really just feel like for you, it's like, it's something about creative projects will do better when you do it in a more collaborative way. That's really, really important. And it's about you being able to be a leader within a group, but then also you being able to be a follower in a group. It's like being able to access different parts of yourself in different circumstances and situations and not being fixed about that. And I do think obviously Aquarius is a fixed sign, so you might have a tendency to more... It's so interesting because Aquarius so thinks out of the box dramatically. So it's like, well, how can they have a fixed mind? Because that doesn't make any sense. But at the same time, there is this kind of like... I think sometimes Aquarius can be fixated about being either either or, because it depends, being rebellious, being individualistic, being non-conformist. There can be this real drive where it's like, no matter what happens, I need to sort of rebel, or I need to be unconventional, or whatever, because this makes me feel free, and this makes me feel like independent, and I need to feel free, and I need to feel independent. I feel like there's something about that as well that will be coming up for you guys, and asking you to consider how you can still be individualistic, still be a non-conformist, still be a rebel, but do it in this kind of mature, responsible, elder way, with this Saturn energy that's coming with you. And I do feel like that is definitely going to require some out of the box thinking, because I'm also hearing that, to be honest, that is a frequency on planet Earth of energy of people where they're kind of rebellious, they're kind of non-conformist, they're kind of individualistic, but at the same time, like, they're super responsible. They like think about the entire group, bigger than just their community. They think about all of humanity. And also they're willing to follow some kind of routine, structure, rules. I don't know, it's almost like, it's not an oxymoron, but it reminds me of that kind of like, it's slightly conflicting energy, but that is the energy that's really coming in and asking you to step up in that kind of way. And I really totally feel, I mean, just on every level, to be honest, I totally feel like you're going to be able to do that, and that is going to bring a lot of success. I think it will bring a lot of success, and I do actually feel like it will bring a lot of emotional fulfillment. So also what I am picking up for some of you is pay attention, January and February, and also if you've gone past January and February, remember what happened in January and February, because there really is something about, for you to be able to hold this kind of amazing energy of like Uranus, radical, inspiring, unique, transformative rebellion, and then Saturn, stable, consistent, responsible, accountable, powerful, very powerful in physical reality. I feel like for those two things to come together, there's a little something that's happened in your childhood that is putting you at odds to do with how you can blend those two parts of yourself. And probably more than likely it will come to do with some kind of like primary caregiver, or some way that you were brought up in childhood that maybe made you want to resist authority in some way, or like resist rules, or resist convention, or something like that. I mean, it's actually about you finding a way to kind of bridge that now, heal that now, and therefore be able to access these Saturnian qualities in almost this new maverick way with Uranus. But it definitely comes through just looking at something. It could be like rebellion against a father figure, but it doesn't have to be, because it could be anything. It could be not really respecting maybe a seriously conventional father, or even just the authoritarian figure. So you might have found the mother was the authoritarian figure. It's something about that kind of energy that you need to look at, and it will be different for all of you. So actually, just because you're in your Akashic Records right now, just take a couple of breaths and just see what flashes up for you. What is it from your past, your childhood, that needs to be harmonized so you can work most effectively with Saturn's energy of responsibility, accountability, leadership, stability in 2021? So yeah, really have a feel into that, because I do feel like that is really, really important. Because as well, like with this very thing at the top of your chart, I feel as well there's a story that goes on here, and I can really see it. So some point in the past, because it is different for all of you, all at different stages, but whatever, some point in the past, you've had a very strong intention, like a very strong desire for something, and you really, really, really like fixated on that desire. You knew what you wanted. Obviously this can be relationship, health, money, fame, it could be anything, life purpose, but whatever it is, and it might be more than one thing as well, to be honest. But it feels like whatever this is, it's something that you really feel is like your highest potential. It was a vision of your future, an amazing future that you could have. It's got that kind of energy to it. So whatever that is, it feels like you sowed the seed. You're very, very clear on it. And then situations have happened, and I do feel like it's forced you to have to let go of it a little bit. Almost like there was so much energy there, so much intention, that certain things happened in life which meant that you almost had to look at blowing out that desire in some way, or at least you had to back off from that desire a little bit, or maybe even you just lost a bit of heart to do with that desire. Either way, the flame kind of went out. But I'm hearing that that was all a really, really important process to then get you to this, the Six of Wands, which I feel like is something that comes through in 2021, where you start to get the success of that desire, the sex of that dream. Wow. Okay, that's a total like, okay, this is something you guys are so passionate about. This feels a part of your life force energy. Whatever it is I'm talking about, this feels like a part of your life force energy. And I do feel like this is something that is actually almost very, very suddenly going to start manifesting into your life in 2021. But there is also a caveat, because there's always a freaking caveat. And that is this one, Knight of Swords. I do feel like there's still a slight shift in your belief system that needs to occur to let this then come through as the manifestation. And again, it's making me feel like for a lot of you, it is about this thing I've said about something in childhood, something to do with your own authority, responsibility, accountability, something to do with the primary caregivers, to do with how you ended up feeling about all things Saturnian. So it could also be like really practical. There's some sort of reaction you've had to do with that in the past. And that is the one thing that sort of like is the key to this thing then coming into your life in some way. It's by understanding what that thing is from the past and reprogramming it. So now you essentially have flow to do with that area of your life. Because I feel like because of some kind of discomfort or irritability or something that you've not liked, something disharmonious basically, to do with your past, to do with these Saturnian qualities, and I do feel like it's happened from somebody that was older than you when you were younger, is kind of made you a bit resistant to that energy. But for you to create whatever it is that you really wanted, you have to have that energy integrated within you in a healthy way, because it's kind of like, it's also the vibration of the expression of what it is that you want. So there's something about this vision that you have for the future that does require this really kind of like Saturn energy of either or, responsibility, accountability, consistency, stability. There's something about that that's really, really important. And also something about, and I don't know how this will relate and be relevant to some of you, I think definitely if it's a family relationship theme, and actually even a work during your life purpose or whatever, it's something also about also being willing to be accountable and responsible from the lineage that you come from. And it's something about that actually really helps to the creation and the manifestation, the fulfillment of this, which I totally see with the Six of Wands and also the Ten of Stones here, Ten of Pentacles. It's totally there and it's totally available for you. But again, the Ten of Pentacles, Ten of Stones, it really reminds me again of this, like really, it's about being responsible, and it's something generational, you know, because I just keep seeing like fourth house, we've already discussed about that, like lineages, where your roots are from, the heritage you're part of. I don't know, there's something about making peace with that or harmonizing that, or even if you're at peace with it and you've harmonized it, it's then about truly embracing it in some way, because you're all, you know, you've all got slightly different stories with this, you're all in slightly different places with it, but you know, something to do with that, it is important to have that integrated within your mind in a new way with the Knight of Swords, that then can bring obviously all of this success which is coming to do with this. And I'm hearing as well, it's because it does ultimately make you a vibrational match therefore for what it is that you do want. But I'm also really getting this, and this is really important, none of you have done anything wrong as to why you haven't got what you wanted. It's just a process of actually getting there. It's almost like I'm hearing a process of enlightenment that gets you to this point. And again, this, it's showing me off with this, with like the star at the very, very top. It's not just the fulfillment of whatever it is that you're wanting to manifest, but it's also like a true enlightenment to do with whatever this is, which for some of you will then be a massive game changer, is what I'm hearing. But it doesn't matter, because however it's coming to something that makes you feel like the Ten of Pentacles. So stable, successful, and also part of a community, part of a group, part of a family. It's connection. It's very connective bases, because in the Ten of Pentacles usually you see like a family, including the grandparents and 2 dogs and everything. So it's got a really amazing energy. So whatever this is, whether this ends up being the fulfillment of what it is you really wanted, or complete enlightenment about what it is that you wanted, doesn't really matter what it is, because either or, it still leads you to this place of 10 of Pentacles. It just might be a little bit different for some of you that you envisioned, depending on how much your belief system then has to change for you to basically get this. I feel like if your belief system doesn't change too much to do with this, then whatever this is the physical manifestation of something. If your belief system has to change quite a bit to do with this, then I feel like this is enlightenment, which then creates a whole nother space of happiness, abundance, contentment, or whatever, but it's in a slightly different way. So that's like 2 different options that I see, and you'll have to intuitively feel into which one you are. But then I'm also hearing from your Akashic Records, be mindful that that might also change and it might flip. So if you think actually, oh yeah, it's going to be enlightenment which leads to this, you might find later down the year you realise, no, wait a minute, no, I don't have to change my belief system now much, and now I get what it is that I was manifesting. So it's kind of, you got to realise that this is a year for you guys of train tracks interlacing, intercrossing. It's kind of very much, it's not infinity, it's this movement is what I'm seeing. It's this movement. In and out, like things are going to converge, and then they're going to divert, and then they're going to converge, and then they're going to divert. And so there's something about that means you have to be really open and flexible. But just know that it's all coming to a great end. And as well with this card here, Leo, the Strength card, I do also really feel like this is what would I say, it's I just feel like it's going to be asking you to obviously stand way more in your power, but it is asking you to, I'm just hearing, show your face in a new way to the world and to the people that you know. It's showing your face in a new way. And obviously I mean that metaphorically, but that also makes me just think of the first house, where if you are ascendant Aquarius, there are going to be these kind of quite radical changes going off. But also I do really feel, again, this is going to be something where you're going to be very, very different, to do with authority, creativity, accountability, how you see the world and how the world sees you. By the time we get to 2024 with Pluto moving into Aquarius, I do just feel like that energy is really, really important. Cool, so now I just want to just get a couple more. See if there's anything else we want to add. I'm hearing that we don't read these reversed, so let's just have a little bit more of the story. Okay, so we have 7 of Voices. Ooh, okay, so be mindful of deception. I'm also hearing be mindful of deception within your own wants and desires, as well as obviously people around you. But we'll go into more detail in a minute. Then we have, I love this one, Queen of Wands. Queen of Wands. I'll say it in a minute. Let me just pull this one around and I'll say it in a minute. Oh wow, and then we have the Emperor. Okay, I get this. Right, okay, so what I really feel as well with these 3 cards here is just the way it's pulling around the centre point here. Be really mindful about the motives of other people, particularly somebody that might appear to be very nurturing and supportive. Just make sure you understand what their more deeper motivations are. And I don't feel like it's that they're going to be doing anything untoward to you. I don't think you quite realise what it is that they really want, probably because they don't even really know what they want, and therefore you don't have all of the information to make a stable choice, is what I'm hearing. Now, if this doesn't relate to a person with the Queen of Wands, if the Queen of Wands doesn't relate to a person, by the way, I'm not seeing this as masculine or feminine, not at all. I'm just kind of describing the characteristic of the setup. So I feel like it's somebody that is important to you in some way. It could be at work, it could be a friend, it could be a family member, it could be a relationship, it could be a creative partner, anything. Somebody isn't quite sure about what they really, really want. And because they're not quite sure about what they really, really want, you don't have all of the information to make the most sound decision. And that's just something that you need to be mindful of. What I'm hearing, though, that you can do about this is it's only because on a deeper level, there's something, even though you've been very, very clear about what you wanted, there's something about when you've had to let it go slightly or focus slightly about it in a different way that means for some reason it's brought in a little bit of confusion on some level, or maybe you feel like it's never going to manifest. Something like that has happened, which has also brought in a little bit of incoherence within your energy field, and that's why this person or this personal situation that also isn't totally clear is even more confusing. Just because there's something about you that also isn't really truly clear about what it is you really want. And what I'm really hearing is, if you can get really clear about what it is that you want, with the Emperor here, and the Emperor was also under the Knight of Swords here, if you can get really, really clear about what it is that you really, really want, then you'll find that any confusion in your external reality, either to do with a person or to do with a situation, will suddenly start to, and these are the words that I'm hearing, dissolve. So what I'm hearing as well then is, if you are in a place of confusion about something, or you feel like someone or something is not telling the absolute truth, or you feel like whatever's going on doesn't make sense in some way, I'm hearing it would be good for you to just step back a moment and just again get very clear about what it is that you do really want, first of all, regardless of what you're seeing. And I feel like it does have something to do with clarity about whatever it is you've been wanting to manifest for a very long time. It's just potentially about having to get a little bit clearer about that again, so that then you can step into this Emperor space, which again is this very to do with your astrology. It reminds me of like a Saturn energy again, an authoritative figure. So again, if you're finding some confusion about what you want, a person is confused in your life, or a situation is confusing in your life, again, I feel like this on a deeper spiritual, psychological level is linked into something to do with authoritative figures when you were growing up. There's some kind of incoherence you have to do with that in the past, which then, when situations or people come into your life that are either potentially going to be a stable influence or potentially going to be an unstable influence, you get a bit confused about which is which, just because there's still this bit of confusion in your energy field from when you were a lot younger, to do with almost like, I'm hearing the words trusting authoritative figures in some kind of way. And that therefore brings in this Seven of Voices, which is Seven of Swords, which can be quite a deceptive energy. But actually as well, what I'm seeing with this, and also I know it's got the fox here, the fox spirit, which can always be deceptive, but also it's making me think of the coyote for some reason. And the coyote is very much as a power animal. It's kind of like this trickster energy. And again, I feel like if this person or situation, whatever it is that is confusing or not consistent or chaotic, the only reason as well why it's potentially showing up like that is because they're kind of, that person or the situation is playing the archetype of the coyote, the trickster. And that's because it's almost like you need to step into this more Saturn, responsible, authoritative, like wise energy, so that you can, I'm hearing, decipher the riddle of the trickster, and therefore make a choice to choose wisely, and to choose wisely. And then again, this is going to bring you to greater stability, happiness, contentment, consistency. And like I say, I do really feel like it all plays into this entire story that we've said about obviously a belief system changing, something to do with the past, to do with authority, which then actually might mean that what it was you're wanting to manifest either manifests, or you get an enlightenment about it, which then means that you manifest something slightly different. But either or, the manifestation, whichever way it goes, leads to the Ten of Pentacles. But definitely be mindful of that trickster type of energy that's coming in. And the thing with the trickster energy as well is it could be a bit like it could come in quite suddenly. So you could be given a bit of either an ultimatum about something, or you could be given like a situation where there's pressure to make a decision really quickly. I feel as well, I'm hearing that is also the sign that this could be a bit of a trickster energy, particularly if they or the situation makes you feel confused or unstable. Because as we channeled from the stone in the beginning, anything that comes in quickly to you in 2021, ultimately you'll realise that you do have a lot of wisdom and understanding to do with this, and therefore deep down inside it will have a feeling of coherence with you and consistency with you, because it's something you've been building up for a really long time. So then the trickster energy could just be coming in as just a little last minute test. And again, if we go back to the tournament, it's like I'm hearing again basketball, somebody's having to do one of those layup type of things, or no, sorry, taking a 3-point shot, and they take the 3-point shot, but the other side's trying to like talk to them, you know, like to try and put somebody off by saying loads of stuff basically. That reminds me about what the trickster energy is a little bit like. It's just it's trying to be a bit of a distraction to you fully stepping into this authoritative space. So it also might make you feel not like an authority in some way, or it might take you back to childhood memories when you didn't feel like an authority. But that is really just a trickster energy. It's an illusion is what I'm hearing as well. With the Seven of Voices, I'm hearing that it's also an illusion. Just give me a quick second. Let me just see where your Neptune is, because Neptune totally can have this vibe as well. So just give me one quick second. Okay, Neptune is... Okay, so Neptune is in the 2nd house. So I do think that this trickster energy will be to do with... it could be to do with money. But really it's to do with something about you using your own personal innate resources and gifts to manifest something. And ultimately it's something, if we go even deeper than that, it's something about how you value yourself and how you see yourself as high value or low value, like where your self-worth is at to do with this. So again, looking back into the childhood or the past, it's probably how an authoritative figure has undermined you in some way, either knowingly or unknowingly. You know what I mean? It could be a massive incident, or it could just be a really small incident. It's different for all of you. But whatever, it's something that your soul and your heart has held on to that memory, and now it really is time to release it. And as you release it and you heal that, and I don't feel like this is going into therapy or something like that, I feel like this is going to be a natural progression, because this is what's going to happen for you, and it's almost going to be like a natural unfoldment and understanding of a riddle that's been in your life for a while, where maybe you haven't manifested totally what you've wanted to manifest, and that's all going to be something that becomes unlocked for you in 2021, which is really cool. I love that. But one second, I'm just hearing a message. This drawing's so friggin' bad. Anyway, so these are always really, really random messages, and then we go into the extended. I pull out further cards, etc., etc., but it just allows us to access another part of the Akashic Records. So anyway, it says here, my guys told me, when you see a woman, check to see if she sees you. Okay, so we'll go into that in more detail. Often they come out really not like what I expect. But anyway, I'm just going to put that there. Now let's just get some more oracles. It's definitely an exciting year for you guys. weirdly, my right ear's just feeling a bit weird, and it's kind of like telling me that pay attention to what you hear to do with stuff to do with how you can earn more money in your life, or how you could have more assets or something like that in your life. It's something about you really paying attention to what life is trying to tell you to do with that, but it's also by paying attention to what other people are saying as well. Are you being led down like a trickster's alleyway, or are you generally being shown a great opportunity? And I feel like it's something about you really paying attention to what someone is saying, but not so much the words, it's everything else about what they're saying. I suppose it's like hearing through your third eye is what I'm being shown. So just pay attention to the whole picture, because your intuition will tell you what's going on, but somehow your third eye gets activated more by you listening more carefully to what somebody is saying. So yeah, what that's to do with, but that came in quite specifically. Because I feel like as well, like you need to be careful that you might miss what somebody's saying, and by missing what somebody's saying, again, it means you don't have all of the right information to kind of make the most well-informed decision. So it really is something about making sure your ears are peeled and your ears aren't blocked. And obviously I'm meaning that in a metaphorical type of way. I actually just want to get a couple more for you guys, because I don't know why I just do. Okay, let's see what these are. So we have She of the Lotus. I love these cards. Then we have so Ten of Earth. So this is like Ten of Pentacles, only these cards read differently, but that is interesting. We've got two Ten of Pentacles, so success is assured for you guys. It says perfection, completion, continuity. Okay, then we have Damien Hirst. I love that crystal, skull crystal. So it says art and science are for confronting mortality, postpone death, preserve it in formaldehyde, encrust it in diamonds, talk to your local pharmacist. And there's a shark at the top there as well. I love that. Okay, I've got a lot to say about that, because the shark power animal is so powerful, completely to do with manifesting money, and definitely it's totally involved in this trickster energy. I know I'm getting a massive download on that, but we'll go into that in the extended. Then we have here richness, marine life. That's interesting. And then we have here, oh wow, the hunter. So the hunter and the shark, this is a very significant moment to do with your self-worth, but to do with definitely, again, this thing about trickster energy. But anyway, sorry, I'm going to go in that in a minute. I just want to pull just one more. This one. Oh wow. Oh wow. The Seven Sisters. So this is a massively fated year for you guys. This is a massively fated year. Okay, cool. So what we're going to do is we'll take this all over to the extended. We will obviously channel into the crystal. We will go into what this means in greater detail, and obviously we'll go into all of the oracles and we'll blend it together with everything we already know. Then last of all, we'll just get an I Ching card, and I'll read out exactly what the I Ching says, so you can get your own personal message with that. Cool, this is exciting. I love the shark power animal, is one of my favorite. I know this is really awesome to do with discernment and increasing your abundance as well. It's massive, and recognition, but also, I don't know, really stepping into your unique abilities to manifest your life. Anyway, we'll go into that in some detail. I hope you enjoyed that reading. I loved reading for you guys. It was amazing. This will be a really powerful year for you guys. Remember to look at your sun, moon and rising on the other Akashic Records. But to be honest, more than that, I really suggest that you come to this channel anytime in 2021. If you have a question, ask your intuition to tell you which zodiac sign has the answer, and then go to whichever one it says. So like I say, even if it says, I don't know, Aries, and you have nothing really significant in Aries, go there, because that will be where the best message is for you. So I hope you enjoyed that reading. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook on Abigail Grace Psychic. And then if you want to buy the extended reading, you just go to my website on abigailgracepsychic.com. Also, I have my other YouTube channel, See It Like a Psychic. So you might want to check that out. That's just like loads of just short concept videos, 10-ish minutes, about different things that you can be aware of and how you can use your own psychic resources, etc, etc. So cool, I love that, and I hope to see you guys soon. Bye. So thank you for letting me read for you. That was totally my pleasure. If you'd like the extended reading, you just need to go over to my website on abigailgracepsychic.com. I'll leave all the links below. There's the choice for you to buy one reading, one extended reading, or multiple extended readings, and there's different packages that you can go for, so that you can get the most out of it. Just bearing in mind that 2020 was crazy and 2021 is still very much a huge tipping point, and so much new energy is coming in. But when anything begins, there are always unpredictable moments. There's different things that kind of go off. So hopefully these readings, particularly if you use them in whatever way your intuition tells you to, you'll be able to get the most out of how you can leverage whatever situation you find yourself in 2021. Also, just bearing in mind that these readings are relevant anytime in 2021, and you can come back to these readings and you might find different numbers become relevant to you. So just be as creative and intelligent as possible with all of these readings, so you can leverage any situation and you can do awesome, because I do believe we all can. Speak to you soon. So hi guys, so welcome to your pile. Okay, so first of all, what I have to say is you guys are 100% the wild card within all of this, because I haven't set any of them up like this. Obviously, here's your stone to crystal to channel with in the beginning. And basically what's happened is I've done all of these 8-4 readings. All of them have worked perfectly with the sound. Then for some random reason, when I was channeling, it didn't record anything of what I was saying. And the moment I stopped channeling and started reading the cards, randomly it started recording again with the sound. And I didn't realise this until quite a long time after, and I was just like, oh my god, what am I going to do? So I thought about trying to re-channel again, but the truth is my readings are so integrated, so everything that I channeled, lots of it actually became relevant within the cards that come up later on in your spread. So basically what I thought I'd do is I'm just setting it up like this because it looks so beautiful and I totally love it. And then basically I'm going to tell you basically all the points that I remember that came out of the channeling of the stone, and we're actually just going to put it at the base here. So you're the only guys that have got like this kind of like, I don't even know what to call this, but I just love it and it feels awesome and I love these colours. So let me just go into the points then, and then we'll get straight into your cards. So I just want to say self-worth is really important to this pile, but we'll go into that in more detail later. Liberated energy and liberating your energy is such the huge theme of everything for you guys in 2021. It really is massive. And basically when this came in, I remember seeing this incredible vision of a gold angel. I've never seen this gold angel before, and it was all around you and it was super protective of you, but at the same time it was like super powerful and like abundant. It's kind of like a really magnetic type of angel, and I heard that it's basically going to be helping you draw things to you that you want. And then I saw like this angel kind of like open out its wings, and it looked insanely incredible. Like, I mean, if you can just imagine a massive gold angel, and then with these incredible gold wings that had almost got like iridescent gold around all the definition of all of the feathers, and then it was almost like there was like a sunlight behind the angel which was then catching all of this gold and this iridescent gold, and it just looked phenomenal. And this is very much some kind of energy that is within you and that is around you in 2021. And anyway, as I saw this angel open out its wings, I really just got this thing about you guys. You're no longer going to be trapped. You are going to be completely releasing into energy and into a reality that literally is in alignment with you, like it is a vibrational match for you. And so I really feel like a lot of you that pick this pile, you'll have really important astrology going off in 2021. And I do really feel, obviously, it'll have a lot to do with this Uranus energy, this Aquarius energy. So I don't know where you have your sun, moon or ascendant, but any of those in Aquarius will be powerful. But you could also just have other planets or just other significant angles going off in any of your charts, natal, solar return and progress, that's really going to be amplifying this energy. But like, this angel was just absolutely beautiful. I remember being almost mesmerized by it. And I do feel like when you starting to release your potential and be who you are, right? Not when you're trying to fit into a mold. I really felt like this angel was something that was like encouraging you to be your true self, to be totally authentic, and to not feel like you have to be something else to fit in or be accepted or anything like that. It really is just about like truly being you. And it really felt like that was what this gold angel was here supporting you and encouraging you to do, and also bringing opportunities and people to you that will help you access this energy within yourself. I think that's really important, because I also remember as well with this pile, getting this thing as well in the channeling about you guys are going to be meeting people that are not chained to their past, because you are going to stop being chained to your past from 2021 onwards. And again, this really felt like that whole angel with the like wings opening out, and essentially your wings opening out. So I think this is really, really cool, and it's really, really exciting. And yet I just have this feeling that a lot of you will start to meet a lot of people and soul tribes and soul friends that that they've worked through their past stuff, like, or they just didn't have to work through heavy karma in this lifetime. I don't know, it could be many different reasons, but the point is, when you're meeting these new people, these people will feel subtly different to other people you might know, because they just feel so much more lighter, because they themselves are not chained to their past. They're not chained to their past programming, they're not chained to their past childhood, they're not chained to their past difficult lives. Like, they are liberated, and because they're liberated, they've got a lot of creative energy that they can channel into whatever it is that they want to do, achieve, create or experience in this lifetime. And again, I really feel like this is a sort of energy that's also going to be coming into you guys in 2021 and onwards, obviously, like this whole next decade, 2 decades even. So I really, really felt that was awesome. And then this other thing really came out about kind of, again, like the angel, this gold angel, like, you know, drawing things and people to you that have almost like this magnetic power and this kind of like sunshine, happy type of energy about them, but at the same time very grounded and just very successful energy, but a happy, successful energy is around these people. But anyway, what I also did see after this angel was I also saw a vision of Venus in the sky, and she was behind Mars, and I could just feel that she was following and really wanting to catch up to Mars. And again, this just made me feel like this is really about you receiving a lot of things in 2021. Things and people will be seeking you out, especially, and this was the really key bit, especially when you are focused on your passions or what lights you up. So that can be anything. It can be from a life purpose to a hobby to just, I don't know, you might just, I know for me, hanging out with animals, like when I hang out with little Rupert, the Pomeranian that I friggin' love, is awesome. My energy field is bigger and it's brighter and it's lighter. So it doesn't have to necessarily be like a really big thing that is your passion that lights you up. It could be so many little small things that light you up. But whatever it is, there's something really like important about when you focus on what you love, what you enjoy, what lights you up, what makes you feel like, I don't know, like so that you feel in flow and in tune with the joys of life, that type of energy. When you're doing that, this really is when a lot of things are going to start to very, very quickly accelerate into you. And I'm almost seeing it as if you're going to have like this gravitational field around you that gets activated when you're in a place of doing your passions and things that light you up, and it's just going to literally be like sucking people to you, people and situations that also can share these type of experiences with you. They also have passions, they have joys, that, like I say, they're not chained to their past, but they have a lot of compassion and they have a lot of humility, I'm also hearing, because they have overcome the chains of their past. And I feel like they've done it in such a way so that they, I don't know, in some way it's made them, it's humbled them in some way. And there's something about that as well that I think will be also a reflection within you too, which is super cool. Then this other thing as well that I really got with the channeling was, the integration time is going to be important for you guys, because you will be changing your energetic fields with all of these new frequencies coming in. So new frequencies are really coming in, particularly because some of you might know the Saturn conjunct Jupiter that happened around about the 21st of December 2020 sets off this whole new 20-year cycle, but at the same time it sets off a whole new 200-year cycle. Both the 20 and 200-year cycle are all about air energy, and the last 20 years has all been, 200 years has all been about earth energy cycles. So for you guys, particularly with this dominant Aquarius energy, and I'm getting tingles on this and I'm getting shivers and my hairs are standing up, but basically this is really, really about energy coming in, which is so in alignment with you. But there is going to be periods where you're going to have a little bit of downtime, or life might just slow things down a bit for you in whatever way. This is not because something is going wrong or nothing's going to plan. This is purely, I'm hearing, just to give you integration time so that you can help to integrate things that are happening within your life at the same time as you can really like integrate, I don't know, like a lot of these new upgrades and things that you will be having on almost like an energetic level. And this will also be happening for you guys when you're sleeping, so sleep time is also important. Because again, I did get this thing about there's like lots and lots of new patterns starting up for you guys on the subtle realms, but also even in the physical realm. So just be kind to yourself, make sure you have some of this integration time. You might find a video of mine on See It Like a Psychic really useful. It's called Integration Time, just a little 10-minute thing, and it'll give you some different concepts around that, so maybe check out that if you feel called to. Then this other super cool thing that I saw, because I saw quite a few visions with you guys, to be honest, like really distinctive things like the Venus and Mars in the sky, like the golden angel and loads of detail. And the other vision that I really saw was I saw two computers side by side. One was an old one and one was a new one, and both these computers were looking at the exact same website, but the website looked totally different on the old computer compared to the new computer. Like on the old one, it was like a lot darker colours, like some of the graphics weren't as like detailed, and also it was slow to respond, right? And on the new one, it was all like bright colours. Response time was really quick, like it had some additional features on it as well within the website. And basically what I just got was, this is like the upgrade that's going to be happening to you. So essentially you'll all be given this new upgrade, like the new computer, and therefore everything you perceive, you'll start to see things differently, because it's almost like your eyes and your perception has also got upgraded. So you're like this new computer that now can look at stuff from the past, or look at stuff in the present, and you'll see it in a much more vivid, colourful, responsive, engaging, enhancing type of way. But I also did get this really interesting thing with you guys. There's a bit of a choice that's going on to do with that. Like it's a choice. Are you going to choose to work with this new energy that's coming in and see things in this different way? Because again, it will require a little bit of a shift, even within your own way of processing and how you say yes and no to certain people and certain opportunities, and all of this kind of thing, and where you set your self-worth at for what you will receive coming in. It's still a bit of a choice at this point, because it's so close to like the changing of it. The changing of the guard was a big thing I also got with this pile. Like there's a real changing of the guard, but also just be mindful about this, because then this brings in the integration time again, and the importance of integration time when you're going through a big change. But also there's this really important thing as well about choice. When you're at a threshold, I'm hearing, ooh, sorry, just one second, so much coming in. when you're at the threshold of like a new experience and a new reality coming in, and let's say new upgrades or new big things happening in your life, I'm hearing that there's still a bit of a choice sometimes as well about how you actually go into that, and if you can sink into that new reality with ease, or if you still sort of hold on to some things from the past and therefore you kind of slow down that transition process. So again, like these computers, you will have both the old systems within you in 2021 and you will have the new systems within you in 2021. And often it will come down to a choice of you about which one are you going to choose to work with and see and perceive life through. And so sometimes just make sure that old habits or old belief systems, or even just people that will that engage heavily in things to do with the past, or that's your past, let's say, maybe sometimes it's not necessarily about cutting them out, but maybe it's about being mindful about when you're engaging with them and when you're not, so that you're giving yourself the most opportunity and the most potential to really tap into and really sink into your reality these new upgrades that, like I say, it won't hold things to do with chains of the past, either chains to your past or the people around you won't be chained to their past. So there's something really important and powerful about that. Now, was there anything else? Yeah, pretty much. I think that was mainly what everything was covered. Obviously, if when you now listen to the card reading, I go on to some things and I'm like, yeah, like when I said in this, and then obviously I say something which I haven't said now, do take it on board though, as it did actually happen, because I can't totally remember everything that I channeled, because, well, as you guys might know if you do channeling or you know of it, sometimes it's almost like you are conscious but you're not fully conscious. It's kind of a weird in-between state. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that, and now we'll go on to your cards. Like I say, it just sort of cut in, so we'll just cut in straight away, and luckily I hadn't turned over any cards, so that was awesome. But I hope you like this little pretty thing here. I really enjoyed doing it. But anyway, we'll go on to your cards now. I think some of you, I don't know, maybe always just felt a little bit restricted in some way, like either your mind didn't seem to be able to translate it into your physical reality, or I don't know, something like that, whereas now it feels like a lot of those kind of restrictions, which was really just almost like a mismatch of energy, because it wasn't truly in this Aquarius sort of air energy that works so well for you. It was almost like a lost in translation, and it's why not everything manifested the way that you wanted. But I just really see that this is like a real changing of the guard. I keep hearing this so much for the Aquarius energy, and it's just going to make things happen a lot easier, like a lot freer, and it's going to be a lot more innovative, and essentially it just won't feel like you've got something pressing down on you in that same kind of way. That's sort of like, it's almost like every 2 steps forward it's 1 step back, or it's 2 steps forward and 3 steps back. Like there'll be none of that. It will just kind of be like and more forward and forward and forward and forward and forward, and then there'll be a pause, but it won't even be a step back. It will just be a pause to integrate, and then forward and forward and forward and forward. It's that kind of thing. Anyway, sorry, going on forever. Let's go in. So first card up for you guys is the Ace of Wands. That's powerful. Again, new patterns. Below that we have the Knight of Vases in return. Knight of Vases in reverse. Instantly what I'm getting with this, with the hummingbird, is this is the end of a long journey over for you guys. Like whatever has been like quite a long, this pilgrim's progress energy I'm getting, whatever that is, it really feels like it's coming to the end, because the hummingbirds in shamanic story, they do the impossible journey every year, and it feels like your impossible journey is over, and that you will actually start drinking sweetly and joyfully from the nectar of life, which is also a symbol of the hummingbird. And this again then becomes this new pattern, this new start, this new beginning. But let's just have a look here. And we have, obviously I'm going to go into it more detail as well. This is just quickly coming out. Okay, Queen of Wands. Oh no, wait a minute. Queen of Blades. No, Queen of Swords, sorry. And that's also Ace of Swords, sorry. So Queen of Swords in reversed. I feel like this is like overthinking. A lot of you guys, if you are overthinkers, that's not going to be happening in the future, because the energy just won't work like that for you guys. It will, I feel like you're just going to process things a lot quicker and like in their full entirety. So there won't be the same need to be questioning over and over in your mind, what is what is what. And then we have here 4 of Vases. So I feel like as well with this kind of change of not overthinking, I think you're just going to find that you're going to be more present with your emotions. Because interestingly, with this Four of Cups, I'm getting almost like not a stagnancy with emotions, but I'm getting for you guys like a being more present with your emotions, because that analytical mind has stopped in that way. And also, I just feel, I don't know, there's something about your emotional energy that's going to feel it's going to be way more rewarding for you. It's not going to come with the same sort of confusion. Let me have strength. Strength's come up a lot for everybody, to be fair, with this Leo energy. So I just think this is being, again, more of yourself, more authentic. And I think as well, though, it's kind of like bringing your authenticity into a group, into a pack, being part of a team again. And again, I do feel like for a lot of you, if there's been disruptions with family, I feel like over like the coming years, that's really going to be coming into like, again, a healthy pact type of energy. And again, it's because of all of these other things about whatever is this long journey, this impossible journey that you've been on as a soul. It's coming to a true conclusion, which can stop the overthinking, which can allow you to be more emotionally present, which can therefore allow you to almost like connect, not easily, because I feel like Aquarius energy can make friends really easily, but it's just like it will allow you to connect on a much more soulful level. Okay, so then we have the Six of Cups. Okay, and then obviously that's under this energy that I was talking about this pack type of energy. So that just real confirms to me what I'm saying. I just really feel like, you know, there is going to be this change of the guard with friendships, and also how those friendships show up for you. So it might even be that it's not necessarily that you have new friends coming in, but the way that the old friends are present for you and the way that you're present for them is kind of shifting, and it's coming to a more, I'm hearing understanding level, a greater appreciation of each other's needs and requirements, and kind of like I don't know, there isn't the same sort of heavy energy that's coming in. Like, you know, sometimes if a friend can be draining, or a relationship can be draining, or it can be heavy, or it can trigger you a lot. I feel like a lot of triggering is kind of just going to be dissolving to some extent. But that's also because you in turn don't allow yourself to get so well triggered, because again, there isn't the same sort of mental acrobatics that you guys are doing, which I feel like could sometimes get you into a negative emotional spiral to do with things. Like that's all kind of, I don't know, again, it's just this thing of, it's so hard to describe it, because it really isn't almost like a physical thing that happens. It really is like, it is this energetic shift that you guys are truly having from this Aquarius energy coming in, and also from like almost like the magnetic fields of the earth changing. And I'm getting goosebumps with this, which is then also just, it just means this long journey of difficulty in whatever way it is, it really is truly over. It's over, and there's this much more expansive, like that angel with the wings energy coming in. And it really is just because it's a timing thing. You know, like sometimes there's this thing where, I know a lot of people will ask me this, obviously being psychic, is, oh, you know, what is destiny, what is fate? Like, is it free will, is there not free will? Now, obviously, I can only tell you the perspective that I get through my guides. And I also just want to say at this point that there are many different perspectives and realities going off, all of which are true. It's just which one resonates with you, and therefore which one you subscribe to. So I can only tell you what I'm told through my guides from the perspective that our consciousness filters through, as it were. But I've very much been told that like many things, majority is all free will. And in fact, actually, everything is free will, because even stuff that is fated and fixed, it was things that you previously agreed to before you incarnated as a soul on the earth. So essentially everything is free will, but then it's all about not really understanding this, or like having a memory of this, because often we don't have memories of obviously before we incarnated. However, the Akashic Records are coming straight through and saying that so many of us will now, within the next 10-20 years. So many people have so many different understandings, and almost like a back catalogue of information from their past lives and future lives, etc., etc., because that energy is just becoming open. But getting back to this, it's like, but there are some points in everybody's timeline that are fixed. They're things that you agreed to before you came down as a soul that would happen regardless of the choices that you made now as a human being in this plane. But it's not so much that it's not free will, because you did agree to that before you came down. However, the important thing as well is there's not many of those. There's not many of those. And the rest is there's so much ability for change and shift and negotiation and, I don't know, adaptability and flexibility. And that is also something that in many ways is going to be increasing tenfold now with the energy that's coming in. However, it will become more and more, you'll become more and more aware of which things in your life were fixed and they were pre-decided before you incarnated. I don't really know why that just came up, but it just did, and just felt like I had to say that. So yeah, it's just something to be mindful of. Then we have the 10 of Stones in reversed. This for me is interesting. It's coming through as an energy of I do feel like there'll be quite a few physical shifts and changes for quite a lot of people that chose this pile. So it could be things like, and this is very much happening while Saturn is in your sign, so up until like March of 2023, I think. You know, for lots of you, you might have real changes on how you are earning your own income, or how it is that you make money, or how it is that you receive money. I feel like for a lot of you that might go through quite a big change during this time period, because again, things are opening up for you in a way that they weren't previously open before, because your energy field wasn't so aligned to the frequency of the vibration of Earth, and it now will be going forward. And I do think you need to just be mindful that there may be some points of like disruption while you move from this one reality to this kind of other reality, and you might find that that is involved with some of you with jobs, with careers, with relationships, with where you live. Like it could be really quite a big shift, but I'm hearing that this shift is only going to be a really positive shift, and it will almost happen a lot easier than what you might have thought. And again, this will happen because the energy is more aligned to your own frequency, and therefore there isn't the same incoherence as what's previously happened for a lot of you. And again, I just keep being told to tell you, like, this long journey, I don't know what this long journey is because it's different for all of you, but the impossible journey that you were on as a soul, you've completed it. And now you really can drink sweetly and joyfully from the nectar of life. I just keep getting this so strong coming through. Anyway, here we go. Oh, wow. Now we do have the Ace of Wands. Okay, so this one was the Ace. So it's so interesting. The first card is the Ace of Swords. And then the last card that we've got here is the Ace of Wands. So again, this truly is completely new beginnings. And again, I do really feel like with that being under this card, like I just said, I do feel like a lot of you in this pile, you will be going through quite a few changes for sure, and very physical changes, like almost, it is life-changing changes, but it is just because you are now going to be more in alignment with yourself than ever before. So therefore, clearly, anything that wasn't previously in alignment with you will kind of be over in that way. And I just really got this feeling that like a relationship's particular, like let's say connection in particular, is going to become so much more rewarding and fulfilling for you. And I just feel like, I don't know, I feel like your really interesting mind, like your way of seeing things, or your way of being creative, or your way of being scientific, or your way of being like really forward thinking, your way of kind of thinking outside of the box. I don't know, I feel like it's going to become really, really appreciated by the people around you. And I feel like previously you might have definitely felt understood. I am getting this feeling of feeling misunderstood. And it kind of feels like that's part of the deeper dynamic of what this like impossible journey was for almost all of you, was this thing about being misunderstood. if it was by family, if it was by a spouse, if it was by career, if it was by friends, if it was by siblings. I mean, honestly, it could be by anyone, and it's probably more than just one group in your life. And I really feel like that energy of misunderstood is really going to be, well, it's just a thing of the past, basically. It's just literally a thing of the past. I really, really like this. I keep feeling like I want to touch it. I don't know why. So it just makes me feel again like, I just feel like things are going to be drawn into you. Again, like we saw with that angel with the gold wings. I don't know. It's just, and again with like Venus being behind Mars in the sky. I don't know. It just feels like all things beautiful and all things like with a lighter vibration are just going to get drawn to you. They want to connect with you. They want to kind of like, they just see real value in you, what you have to offer, what you have to say, what you have to communicate, what you have to share. Just feels like it has so much more value going forward than what it's ever had before. And even though, to be honest, it's not that it's not really like you're going to be changing what you're saying or what you're sharing, but it's just that, again, it's just like, I don't know, there's like this release of resistance around you and in your energy field to do with allowing people in, allowing yourself to receive what it is that you, I don't know, are truly amazing at, or truly great at, or are truly, I don't know, here to do in some way. Like I say, this is quite difficult to describe because it's just such an epic feeling. And it's like, I just wish all of you guys could like see this angel energy that I can see, because you would get the feeling of what all of this is. And it's so, it will just draw things to you. People will want to connect. People really, really want to connect with you. And it's almost like they want to touch you. But I mean this kind of like metaphysically, because it just feels like the connection. It just feels like the connection. And it really feels like you're going to be able to be seen in the true light of who you really are. I just totally love it. I need to stop touching those cards. Right, let's just get, and here we get 4 more cards. And I do also feel as well, like the way that these are kind of set up, it kind of feels like you've got, there's going to be a dance of like things coming in, things coming out, things coming in, things coming out. And it's, I don't know, there's something really rhythmical about it, and there's like a real pattern to how this will happen, but it feels very, very flowing as well. It doesn't feel like attract and repel. It doesn't feel like attract and repel. It feels probably a bit more like, it feels like the energy of the tides going in, coming out, going in, coming out, because it feels like there's a real purpose when things come in, and it feels like there's a real purpose when things go out. And it doesn't feel like any of that is to do with reactivity, emotional upsets, overthinking. No, it's nothing to do with that. It's almost just like the natural rhythm of creation at play in your life. Which is really nice. So I'm hearing that we read these reversed if they come out reversed. I also, I did get this for a few other cards, but I'm really getting this for you as well. Before we even turn these over, I'm being shown like, it's like there's, and I can't remember the actual names, but it's like there's archangels for each of the 4 most powerful points or whatever in the astrology chart. They're called, I can't even think what they're called, but one of them's something like Foldamon. One of them's like, I'm dyslexic, so this is impossible. But like there is these 4, and I can't think what they're called, but it's just, and they're at very specific degrees. I think one's like in Pisces, one's like in Sagittarius, one is maybe in Leo, and I can't remember where the other one is, but it feels like you've got all of this energy coming in to kind of protect and contain and hold space for you to flourish, essentially. And also I feel like a lot of this kind of angel type protective energy is coming in to simplify things, to make things less complicated so you can naturally have more flow. because again, this struggle is over. But anyway, let me just have a look here. If it comes back to me what all of these were, I think one's Antarius, so something like Voldemort or something, Antarius. When the other ones come in, I'll tell you. Anyway, so we have the world upside down. We have, oh nice, Muse of Voices. So Muse of Voices is the swords. Then we have Eight of Voices, so Eight of Swords upright. And then we have, oh wow, the Devil in reverse. So we have a major arcana at the top and at the bottom. Right, just give me a minute just while I feel into what all of this means. Okay, so what I'm really getting with the first of all, with the Devil card reversed, is, how would I say it? It feels like things that where you've previously had no's, things where you've previously had, let's say again, restriction, but it definitely feels like no's, where stuff has just been like no and it's been blocked. It feels like loads of blockages are opening up for you now, and it feels like things where previously maybe it's felt like the universe or somebody else or a job situation or whatever it might have been has basically felt like a no, like you felt blocked in it. It kind of feels like those sort of areas in your life are going to be given like new vitality, and it gives you the opportunity to turn no's into yeses if that is what you want. But that's only if that is what you want, because I don't know why, but I really get with this, there's a choice thing. And again, I'm reading all of this like psychically, intuitively, because I know the world doesn't offer me a choice, but I'm just getting like it's a choice for you guys whether to almost it's sort of like a choice about whether you're actually going to start engaging with life with this new energy, whether it's full of possibilities, it's full of inspiration, it's full of appreciation, it's full of all of these much lighter energies. But it kind of feels like on some level in 2021 there is a situation or a few situations that will occur, which is almost like the universe saying to you, well, do you want this new reality or not? And then it's down for you to say yes and take the appropriate action, because it feels like regardless you will get this on an energy upgrade. But then essentially it's, well, what are you going to do with that energy upgrade? Because again, I'm seeing that thing of, you know, those two computers we saw, one of them was old, looking at a certain website, the other laptop or whatever was new, looking at the same website. And it's like, even though you will have the upgraded computer in your system, it's still a choice as to whether you turn on that computer or whether you continue to turn on the old computer that doesn't see life in that same type of way. And it feels like for some reason that's a bit of a choice for you to make. And I do really feel like it's going to come up in a number of situations for you in 2021. And depending on what you choose and the actions you take, depends on if you switch on the new computer or if you continue to just process your life through that old computer. And again, I suppose that kind of reinforces this thing here about choice, in terms of, you know, things where you previously had no's, there's now the option to have yeses. But I'm also getting that some of you might be hesitant to re-engage with areas where you've previously had strong no's, because, well, just understandably, almost from like, and this won't be as dramatic as this for all of you, but just as a metaphor, because it's almost like the post-traumatic stress syndrome thing, to then almost like go back into certain areas of life or situations with people where there's previously been a lot of turmoil. You know, you can almost have that kind of, oh God, I think even just engaging with it might just be heavy or difficult or whatever. But I'm being told that it really isn't, because you've had this reboot to your system. However, you still have to acknowledge that reboot and like I say, turn on that new computer. And part of turning on that new computer is like looking at the same situation again. So like, you know, both computers were looking at the same website. By looking at the same situation or whatever again, but through this new light, this new way of seeing things, you will ultimately see it in a much more enhanced way. And there's something about this which means that it completely is part of this liberation process. So you know how I saw this whole thing about the wings opening up, etc., with the angel, and realizing that they're not trapped down to his back anymore. I don't know, there's also something about going into these situations or having these certain conversations with people or whatever it is, which is part of the process of liberation through the actual experience of realizing it's so very different. Now, also, I want to be clear on this as well, because there's so many of you and it is different for all of you. This doesn't necessarily mean going back into the same situation, going back into the same relationship with somebody, or it doesn't necessarily mean that, but all it's saying is like, whatever is the energies that's been brought up, whatever the storylines, whatever are the wounds, whatever that's got brought up by a certain situation or a certain person, that type of energy will come in again for you then to play it out very, very differently. So it might be through a very different situation or a very different person, but this time it allows there to be a full kind of I'm hearing like creative expression of the scenario or the situation or the relationship dynamic. However, again, for some of you, it will be the same person or the same situation that you re-enter. So what I'm trying to say is be open to it either which way, because really what I'm talking about is the concept of going into a certain scenario that previously would have felt heavy, only this time is not heavy because you have changed, because you have upgraded. And it's that experience that is a truly liberating factor for you. So I guess put another way, it could be like this. And again, this is just a metaphor of what I'm being given to just kind of illustrate what the Akashic Records is trying to say, is it could be somebody who basically was in a relationship that was never, let's say it was a relationship that gave this person a lot of post-traumatic stress, either because it was mentally or emotionally or physically traumatic in some way to that individual, or that's how they perceived it. So then they didn't do relationships, basically they decided not to, or it just felt like they never met the right person because they weren't truly open to going into that experience again because of this kind of energy of post-traumatic stress syndrome. But then it's almost like, and again I'm being shown it metaphorically, like the energy of the earth is changing, the heavy earth energy, the solid energy is moving out, the faster expansive air energy is moving in. This person's also been going on their whole journey to do with the healing process of whatever that was to do with that trauma, and now they're getting in a situation where the ideal person relationship appears in their life, but it's up to them to say yes or no to let them in. And by them saying yes, they actually then go on this whole other healing process and the integration. In fact, no, it's not healing, sorry, it's the liberation of realizing that actually relationships can be amazing, they can be fulfilling, and that as well is kind of like the breaking of the chains of the past, and it's this liberation factor. So that's just, and also like I just channeled here, you guys are going to be meeting people that they are not chained to their past, and that's because you're not chained to your past. So that's something just to consider, because it would be different for all of you. Now, I'm not saying that this is obviously a relationship thing. I'm just saying that that's the example of the metaphor that I'm using. So yeah, and it really will be a massive liberation process. It's a huge, huge liberation process. And I do feel like this is something that will be coming up for a lot of you that chose this pile within 2021. I do actually also think it's quite interesting with both of these. They both have wings. Don't know if you can like see that. And they both have wings here and here. And again, it just gives me this feeling of this angel type vibe and feeling. And again, sort of, again, like I said, how I saw like the four, like the archangels or whatever on the different parts of the astrology wheel. So some of you also might have some significant planets or transits around those points in somebody's chart. So you just have to look something for like the, I don't know, put the archangels of the astrology chart, something like that, and it should come up. And there'll be like Archangel Gabriel on all of these, but then it's the actual star that's in the sky that relates to them that you want to have a look at, because I feel like that will be significant for some of you as well. And if it's not in your natal, it could be in your solar return or your progress chart for this year of 2021. So just consider that also. But essentially, I do feel like this is going to give a lot of protection and support. And again, it's just going to, it's really going to help make it a lot lighter, your life, your experiences, your relationships, your partnerships, everything like that. And I do also really feel like these angels are coming in, or this kind of energy, this kind of supportive, protective energy is also coming in. I'm hearing for a few things. One, because it's also going to further help you with all of the integration that's going off, particularly with your energy fields, to do with obviously this change of the electromagnetic fields around the earth or whatever it is, and then also this Aquarius energy really coming in strongly. So they're coming in to almost like help this energy get easily integrated within your system. So that's one of the reasons why I feel like this sort of energy is around you a lot. And then the other one, sorry, it's just literally gone. The other one is, just bear with me a minute. Guys, what was the other one? Oh yeah, because when you also are going into these sort of situations, which is ultimately going to be a massive liberation thing for you, again, they're there to make sure that the experience isn't traumatic and the experience is a liberation and it's light, and the experience is no longer about the impossible journey. The experience is now about having this joyful, sweet, I don't know, luscious experience essentially. So that's also why it feels like you have that type of support and energy going off for you guys, which I feel is awesome. Right, just give me a minute 'cause I'm just getting a message. Sorry, I was being shown it needs to be on purple, so I was just getting the purple. 1 second. So, yeah, sorry, what's the message? That's a long one. I mean, obviously these come out super, super cryptic, but then in the extended, we go through, we pull out additional cards to get kind of the deeper meaning of it. I've not had one as long as this before, but basically what it says is, it says here, your soul is simple and your choices will be waiting for you in the well, in the shade of the tree. I mean, obviously, look, we just go with it. They're always random, but they always end up being super insightful. So we'll have a look at that in the extended. Now let's just pull some more oracle cards to get a bit more info of what's going down. I'm also as well getting this thing about self-worth. Self-worth and self-value is really, really important. And again, I feel like with Venus like catching up to Mars, as in me just seeing this energy metaphorically, it also makes me feel like your self-worth is going to be catching up to almost like who you actually are, like your actual vitality, energy, inspiration, creativity. I feel like that is all, it's all going to be starting to come in for you guys in some kind of way. But I am also hearing we do need to go into self-worth in the extended, so I guess that will come out in some way with these cards. I'm hearing 2 of these. Ones do we want? Just 2 more. Whoa. Yep, that will do. I think this is almost like the most oracle that I've got out so far. And I'm hearing that we don't read any of these reversed. So let's have a look. Okay, so we have, oh wow, air, motion. I love that picture with the horses, and also number 22, so a master builder. And also air is going to be really great for you guys, and also motion. We already knew 8 of Wands from the beginning when we did the astrology bit of the reading. At the beginning was really important. So again, this does feel like a lot of movement. I feel a lot of change, but it feels like it's all going in the direction that is perfect for you. Then we have awakened awareness. Okay. Then we have surrender, 30, and the seahorse. Then we have, oh wow, nice, the sun. We have, I can't say that person's name, but anyway, it says, know who you aren't, find clarity in clutter. There's more than one way to read a map. Oh, I really like that. Getting quite a few things coming off that as well. Okay, then we have here standing up for oneself. I feel like this is something about you being acknowledged and understood, to be honest with you. Oh wow. And then we have here gesture of goodwill, compassion from strangers. This always makes me think of friendship energy for some reason, and a connective type of energy. Cool, so what we will now do is we'll take this into the extended. We'll obviously channel the crystal and see what that obviously wanted to tell you, because you were clearly drawn to that for a reason. Then we'll also go through all of these oracle cards, and we will also pull out some cards to understand this cryptic message here from your Akashic Records. And then last of all, we're just going to get a reading from the I Ching. So I'll pull out a card, and then we're literally just going to read it from the book. So that you can put your own interpretation on it. I have to say, there's so many cards out on the table and we're only going to get more, but clearly, obviously, it's a really big time period for you guys that chose this message, we have to look into self-worth. I'm just hearing that really strongly from my guides, so we'll also do that. So hope to see you guys in the extended. You can get the extended from my website on abigailgracepsychic.com. I'll leave the links below. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook. I'm Abigail Grace Psychic. In fact, any social media, because obviously there's other ones that are popping up now. You'll pretty much always find me as Abigail Grace Psychic. And then you can also check out my other YouTube channel, See It Like a Psychic. And I post loads of different ideas and concepts of stuff. You might find the highest potential of the Aquarius archetype useful, because it gives you an idea about how I feel like you'll go from overthinking, so there won't be the same overthinking energy we covered here, and it's more going to go into these kind of like instant downloads and realizations and crystallizations of concepts and ideas within you, which will be so much easier. So check that out if you feel called to. But other than that, thank you for letting me read for you, and hopefully I'll see you at the extended. Oh, and also look at these Akashic Records for obviously your sun, moon and rising sign, but really even better than that is use them as a wild card. They're all going to be relevant throughout the whole of 2021. Come to this channel at any point in 2021 and allow your intuition to guide you to which zodiac sign holds the answer you most need to hear right now, because I think I'll have done something like 80 readings by the end of it, and so they've got all of these different unique stories all coming out of the Akashic Records, and if you trust your intuition, your guides and your higher self will take you to the exact message most relevant and needed for you. So please use them in that kind of way as well, because it's more in alignment with the Akashic Records kind of non-linear kind of processing. So I feel like this is how these readings will also be the most successful for you. But cool, hope to see you soon. Take care, and yeah, hopefully see you in the extended. Bye. So thank you for letting me read for you. That was totally my pleasure. If you'd like the extended reading, you just need to go over to my website on abigailgracepsychic.com. I'll leave all the links below. There's the choice for you to buy one reading, one extended reading, or multiple extended readings, and there's different packages that you can go for so that you can get the most out of it. Just bearing in mind that 2020 was crazy and 2021 is still very much a huge tipping point, and so much new energy is coming in. But when anything begins, there are always unpredictable moments. There's different things that kind of go off. So hopefully these readings, particularly if you use them in whatever way your intuition tells you to, you'll be able to get the most out of how you can leverage whatever situation you find yourself in 2021. Also, just bearing in mind that these readings are relevant anytime in 2021, and you can come back to these readings and you might find different numbers become relevant to you. So just be as creative and intelligent as possible with all of these readings so you can leverage any situation and you can do awesome, because I do believe we all can. Speak to you soon. Hi guys, so this is for all of you that chose message number 3, what the Akashic Records want to tell you through the Aquarius archetype at this moment in time. So let's have a look. We will go into the crystal. I love this crystal. I don't know if you can see, it's so pretty. We'll channel that in the extended reading, but for now we will go straight into this. Okay, so one thing that I really get instantly for you guys is, and it's briefly been mentioned in the 2 other piles, and it is something I'm going to bring up in the general Akashic record just discussion, because it's really like this theme that's coming in for everybody, but this is so important for you, and that is essentially you've got some really important things to do from now on in. Not that you've not had important things to do before, but it's definitely, these are like soul calling, these are like soul destiny, but a destiny that you have chosen and a destiny that you do want. So whatever that is, don't also worry if some of you are not sure what this is. Some of you will totally know what this is, some of you won't. It doesn't matter, because it's all in the unfoldment of how this is happening. And I'm also really specifically hearing for those of you that feel like you don't really know what is your destiny or what is your calling or whatever it might be, I'm hearing that that's because you have a destiny a bit like, and this is what I'm getting, you know, I don't know if you know Philip Pullman, the author, his Dark Materials, and there's a character called Lyra, and basically at some point it's this thing where she's not supposed to know that she has this massive destiny to do, because if she knows that she has this massive destiny to do, it will mean she won't be able to do that destiny. And so I know this sounds kind of cryptic, but all I'm trying to say to you is, if you know what your destiny is, amazing. If you don't know what it is, also amazing. And both are exactly right and relevant, because sometimes if you were to know what was your destiny, things would get in the way of that destiny coming in. So it's better that you just don't, and it just becomes like this free flowing experience of one event and a next event and a next event, and all the time you're kind of getting closer and closer to that destiny, so that by the time you reach that destiny, that's the very moment you know that this is your destiny. Okay, so that's just for some of you who are not sure what is your destiny point. But anyway, this is the thing, because it's really about you, wherever you are within this spectrum of destiny, really going into this next level of life, regardless of if you know what your destiny is or not, systems and organizations, protocols, logarithms, that kind of thing is super important. And so really what I'm getting with this, it's really about, I'm also getting this image of, you know, chaos theory. I think there's something called like the Mandelbrot pattern or fractal pattern. I'm sure it's like Mandelbrot. I don't know. I can see the word, but I don't really know how to say it. It's kind of like, essentially, you guys will be creating really important stuff, making really important moves in your life, and it's really going to start to get triggered from 2021, and this really is almost going to be like the seed of it all. But essentially it's going to be like forming coherent patterns out of chaos is the best way that I can describe it. And what I'm just hearing is, think of chaos as more like, as in the chaos theory, like this incredibly complicated creative, dynamic type of energy that actually can look like absolute chaos until you get down into a much more, you see it on a much more refined level, and then you start to see the repeating patterns within all of it, and therefore this supposed chaos is not actually chaos at all. It's just these repeated patterns over and over and over and over again, which then collectively look more like a chaos kind of pattern, but not. That's kind of like the energy of what I'm getting through. And so let me now make this practical for you. Just get things organized. It's really important that you have a living environment that feels stable to you, that is emotionally stabilizing. So do whatever you need to do in your living arrangement to sort of promote that kind of thing. Because no matter where you sit within the spectrum of where you're at in your living situation, there's going to be a way that you can like fine tune it even more, kind of get that environment almost like decluttered. I'm really getting this thing about no clutter, about like streamlining things, and I'm getting this to do with your mind and your thoughts as well, like no clutter, like streamlining the thought processes, and just this real thing, a bit like artificial intelligence in terms of logarithms and protocols that you implement in your life because of the understanding of patterns in your life, if that kind of makes sense. So essentially, again, let me make it more practical. It'd be like having a really clean inbox. It'd be like having your tax all up to date, having all of these kind of things organized from almost like the more mundane. And then you'll find that when these certain situations and opportunities come through for you, because for this pile, I totally feel it. I feel like it's kind of like you could almost have this experience of it's almost like, and this is as a metaphor, okay? So again, I'm from the UK, so I'm just giving this example. So like Princess Diana, might have heard of her. Almost like how she suddenly, her life went from one type of thing to suddenly she married the potential future King of England, and her life overnight went into a completely other type of reality, never to return back to her old reality again. Like it's this kind of energy that I'm getting as well. And what I'm getting as the chaos theory would be like Princess Diana was really hunted by photographers. It's this well-known thing, and it caused, and obviously there was the thing at the end of her death as well that also involved photographers, or let's put it this way, photographers were present at that moment as well. And it's kind of like it's this importance of, if you know things are going to be chaotic, if you know there's going to be lots of movement, if you know there's almost going to be almost like a lot of like energy on you in whatever way that might be, then the more that you can have systems, routines, logarithms, protocols, like tidiness within and around you, the more that you'll be able to therefore make this additional energy that's being put on you or coming into you, and you'll be able to funnel it in a way that you want to funnel it. So again, I'm really getting this feeling there'll be like lots of energy coming to you in many, many different ways. And I'm just sort of getting that sort of metaphorically from the fact that, say, Princess Diana had so much attention on her, like with photographers, and then I don't know, the world or whatever it might be. And really this was just energy being completely focused in on her. And that's the sort of energy that's the kind of metaphor I'm getting with you guys. It's sort of like a lot of energy, new energy, different energy to what you've ever had before. It is going to be coming to you. And essentially it's about finding ways to make sure that doesn't overload you, it doesn't overwhelm you, and actually it just adds to greater enhance you and influence your life in a positive, inspiring, innovative way is kind of what I'm getting. And I'm also really getting there's a thing about experimentation, like experimenting. I feel like the more, I know Aquarius can have an energy of it, well, it's a fixed sign, and it's a fixed kind of air sign, so you could say fixed thinking patterns, all of that kind of thing. And what I'm really hearing is it's about bringing in a kind of Gemini energy, which is more, again, it's to do with the mind, it's to do with thinking, but Gemini can be very, very, On one side, it can be very fickle, but on another side, and this is the energy that I'm hearing you guys, if you can work with this energy, it will be really good for you. It's an experimentational energy. And there's something as well about experimenting within your life, particularly in 2021. And I think it's almost an experimentation to push the boundaries of what you know or what you believe, which is ultimately going to give you some massive, massive breakthroughs, and almost like eureka. And this is where I'm seeing like Einstein. I'm seeing like E=mc². I think that's something to do with the speed of light. And I do feel like there's sudden rapid breakthroughs that are going to be coming in for you guys. And again, I'm really, really getting this thing about try and make your roots, your foundation, as stable as you can, while also making those roots and that foundation as flexible as possible at the same time. And I'm hearing that a lot of how you'll do this is you won't have clutter. And I also am seeing this to do with friendship groups as well. I think it's really important that if some of you feel like, and this is probably going to sound a bit harsh, but if some of your friendships actually feel a bit like clutter, like they're distraction or they're clogging things up or whatever, it's just I kind of feel like I can see almost like a rain of energy coming through that's just going to clear out a whole load of things that are clutter on every different level to do with who you are in your life and stuff. And as it clears out that clutter, it also brings in a whole new energy and a whole new focus. And it's incredibly powerful, because now I'm also seeing a vision of a tiger, but I'm seeing this tiger almost in attack mode. But then I'm actually realizing it's not in attack mode. It's just almost in like a display of power. It's displaying power, essentially. And that's the kind of energy that I'm getting for you guys as well. But it's a displaying of power in a completely different way, in a very Uranus way. So it's not about a display of power through wealth or material assets or appearance, as in like good looks or anything like that. It's more like a display of, even though this is the other thing, you may have all of those things, and also those things may also be coming to you, but it's more like where the real power is coming from is from this energy of intellect, innovation, experimentation, truly thinking outside of the box, identification of seemingly things that don't seem related, yet you see a way that they are related. And again, it's this real kind of like intelligent type of thinking. And this is where I'm seeing images like Albert Einstein, Nikola Tesla, Thomas Edison. I'm seeing all of these kind of energies, and it's just all giving this feeling of kind of real innovation, but innovation and almost like, let's say, celebrityhood. I don't know if that's a word, but that's just coming through. Celebrityhood to do with intellect, to do with thoughts. And this is when I'm also seeing, oh my goodness, I freaking love this film. So now I'm seeing A Beautiful Mind. You know the film with Russell Crowe in it? That's it. I'm seeing this just like this beautiful mind that, you know what, I think previously might have been misunderstood or it hadn't been appreciated. And guys, you're stepping into a space now where your beautiful minds, in all of its different ways, and the beautiful thoughts and the beautiful thinking, the beautiful way of connecting actually as well. So it's not all an intellectual thing, it's this new way of connecting, or it's this new way that you connect with others, or it's this new way that people now see that you connect with them, or others see that you connect with others. And again, now I'm seeing Princess Diana again, because again, she was really known for this, to be really, really, I don't know, one of the people, like really connected in with the people, like the people loved her because they felt like she was one of them. And again, this is the sort of energy that I really feel for you guys. And again, it's very much where all of this energy is going from now on in, as we're moving out of a 200-year earth cycle into a 200-year air cycle. So these are the sort of things that as a collective we're really going to be massively valuing and admiring and appreciating. And so, my friends, this is you. This is totally you. And this is going to be so awesome. There's going to be so many amazing breakthroughs. But what I would say is a lot of these breakthroughs will come through out of the box thinking, innovation, and also experimentation. But at the same time, working with a system and a protocol. Because again, I'm getting the images of like the scientists that we've just mentioned and all of that kind of thing. And if Albert Einstein didn't understand how to turn chaos into mathematical equations, like find a way to put chaos into order, there potentially would not have been, he wouldn't have been able to get to the breakthroughs that he got to. And I suppose what I'm saying is when you're working with such raw, like almost cosmic, chaotic, kind of creative, innovative energy, you have to find a way to make it, to condense it into some kind of like equation, pattern, organization, routine, anything like that. It's just really, really important. And again, I'm giving you this on a kind of metaphorical level because obviously then you guys need to work out how that feels sense to you. But I can't express the importance of some kind of order, routine, structure, no clutter, no distractions, almost like linear logical protocols that allow creative innovation to expand further than it would without those linear logical protocols. And again, I'm just really getting such a mathematical and kind of scientific type thing. If a scientist doesn't know how to log its experiments correctly, it will never understand how relevant the next experiment is compared to the one that it just did before. It kind of gives context, and that context gives an appreciation of how to expand and move forward in new innovative ways. And that's really the energy that I'm kind of like getting coming through. Ooh, I really like it. I am absolutely loving the feel of this pile, by the way. So yeah, let's get into your cards because I'm excited to see what it is. I do just want to say, because you've got Uranus going through the 4th house, and this is something that I'm just really feeling. Don't worry if your astrology isn't this, because it will still be the energy that I'm talking about, okay? And I'll break it down. Because if you've got Aquarius ascendant, you do have Uranus going through this 4th house. The 4th house is home, childhood, primary caregivers, your ancestral roots, your own personal psychology, your own place of emotional fulfillment, all of that. I think you do have to be, you definitely want to understand your family's past patterns, but not for you to dwell on them, not for you to have to go to a psychologist and talk it all through. You can if you want to, but also you know you don't need to. But it's just, again, understand patterns so that you know which patterns to engage in and which patterns to just observe. And I'm saying observe, not disconnect from them. I got this really strong thing where I know there's this real pull in the astrology to go in, to split the world almost into those that kind of like rebel and those that follow order. But there truly is a third way, and the third way I'm really being told is the true Aquarius way, actually, which is to kind of like innovate with both polarities and find a new way, a third way that combines the best of both parts. And so again, I think that's something to be mindful of, to do with family patterns, family history, stuff like that as well. Because over the next 8 years, Uranus will be going through this 4th house if you have Aquarius ascendant, and so there'll be lots of changes and things coming up with that. But what this also just means for all of you anyway, regardless of that, is just understand your own personal psychology will go through some massive shifts and breakthroughs. And again, the more flexible you can be with your own thinking patterns, the easier you will find this and the more innovative it will become. And then this is where the experimentation comes in. So it's maybe like playing with things like maybe doing something different to how you would usually do it, just to observe what's the outcome and then reflect on what happened and then experiment again and just keep experimenting. Because also the rules, I'm hearing that the rules of like Earth are going to be changing, and like the law of attraction will be changing on how it works to some extent, and all of these things will be changing. So it's the ideal time to experiment, because this is when you're most likely to get some really cool, unique ideas coming through specifically to you, like how Nikolai Tesla channeled the idea of like the light bulb and stuff. It's that kind of thing, but it's being open. You guys, it's all about being open, and that is about flexibility of thinking, and just the fixed mental patterns you have. That's more, I'm just seeing like the protocols, like getting the protocols, getting the equations, getting the logarithms, understanding the patterns. But your actual mind needs to be flexible and experimentative so that you can get these innovative ideas. Anyway, let's see what's the pattern we're having here. Okay. Okay, let's have a look. So I don't read any of them reversed apparently. Oh wow, so we have Page of Matches. Page of Matches I think was also in one of the other piles. Then we have Three of Swords. Then we have, oh wow, the World. This is this total thing for sure about I just see this as a whole load of energy coming to you, like what we described about the Princess Diana thing, just all this kind of energy and focus being put on you now. Then we have the King of Cups, interesting, we had that on another pile as well. And then we have 10 of Matches. Again, this feels like you're coming, this to me is like this destined mountain. You're coming to the top of this mountain with this destiny point. But anyway, just give me a minute, just what I feel into all of this and what this is telling us. Okay, so the first thing that the Akashic Records want to tell me is with the Three of Blades, which is the Three of Swords, being at the very, very base of your reading, I do feel like there's a few things that will happen to help you release grief from your heart, to do with family, childhood, your roots, where you come from, your heritage, your lineage, that kind of thing. And also I'm hearing that this is really, really important because as you release some of that grief, that's almost, I'm heard it's being held more on like a cellular level. So you might not necessarily know that you have it, but it's just almost something a bit like epigenetics. It's just kind of like been stored in the memory of your cellular DNA and also from previous past lives, etc., etc. And that's something that's just going to be, I'm hearing over like this, over like an 8-year, 6-year process. It's just slowly and almost like gracefully going to be released from your energy field. But I'm also hearing that this is really important because it's all about you understanding that situations that gave you sadness, loss, grief, made you feel disconnected, isolated, in whatever way that might be in the past, these have actually all created, I'm hearing, like incredibly strong foundations for you to build and expand and share such a compassionate, I'm hearing the word, a compassionate persona to do with being human. And again, it's like flagging up to me this whole thing with Princess Diana about how she had this really sad sort of childhood where her mum left and she didn't know when her mum was going to come back and just things like this. And but essentially that almost gave her foundations to be incredibly like compassionate and understanding of other humans, the other humans' experience of suffering and that kind of thing. But this actually, they became then one of these things where it actually gave her so much power, because again, it's this whole thing of like power to the people, power to the collective, power to the community. This really is the Aquarius energy. And I suppose what I'm trying to say is really coming out is any grief and pain and suffering you've had in the past, it's something, and it's so bizarre how this is coming out, and I'm getting loads of images, so let me just tell you everything I'm seeing. I'm seeing things like the pain and grief and the suffering that humans sometimes go through. At the same point, it's so raw, it's so powerful, it's so potent, it's so refreshing, it's so invigorating, because I'm being like shown like a storm on a beach where the wind is just going crazy and the rain and the waves. And obviously you would say that, obviously people probably be like, oh no, it's not a good idea to be out in that. Yet if you're maybe on the beach at a safe distance, walking on the beach, you'd probably feel incredibly innovated or invigorated by that kind of raw, wild energy and emotion. And it's kind of like showing that there's something incredibly powerful and very invigorating about things that have been painful and suffering in the past, and that this is something that you're really going to start to step into in 2021 and the next 10 years, as all of this energy truly gets integrated within you. And you'll kind of like, by the end of it, you'll just feel like there was something incredibly beautiful and sacred about some of those experiences. Now, I just want to say in there as a caveat, this is purely just what I'm channeling out of the Akashic Records, and I can totally appreciate being a human being. That won't necessarily make much sense. And also, yeah, but that's just what I'm being told, and I can really, really feel it. And it's almost like we're probably as a species potentially going to have this change in awareness about how we see certain emotions that we would often see as painful or suffering in the past, and we'll also begin to start to understand and comprehend these in a whole new way, which also doesn't make pain and suffering feel like the same sort of pain and suffering it did in the past with the same kind of heaviness. So just something to say about that. And so I think it's something about almost like not dissociating from any of pain and suffering from the past, but almost like understanding that it's a beautiful tapestry within you. It's like it's a part of a song where, I don't know, you know, when some songs or music, it goes through different tempos. It's just a certain tempo in your life, but it's still part of this beautiful symphony, which is the song of your life. And actually, for the song of your life to be so beautiful, it needs these changes in tempos. And that also means the life needs some of these experiences of different, more painful, let's say, or emotional or heart-aching type of energies. But essentially is what I'm hearing, that for a lot of you there's some real creative, I'm actually seeing purple all the way around, sorry, it's quite distracting, out of my left eye. So it's making me think as well, this is probably all very much to do with the relationship type of energy and relating, and just connection on the whole. But essentially I really feel like with this purple energy as well that I keep seeing, and it's more than, it's like a purpley pink, but it's really nice and it's vibrant. I don't know, it feels like there's going to be a lot of spiritual type of blessings coming through to you to do with connection and connecting, and just this whole raw experience of being a human and being a human being. Like, I know Aquarius energy can often feel more like an outsider, an outcast, an alien, and I'm hearing that all of that kind of energy is also going to be integrating with this whole new understanding and awareness of the human condition, the human experience, being human, connecting with other humans. And again, it feels like it's this kind of bizarre thing that, like, maybe for some of you, it's this sort of thing of maybe feeling sometimes, let's say, a bit different or unique or whatever it might be, which then means that you maybe sometimes feel misunderstood, or you don't feel like you fit in, or you just don't feel like you connect with collective consciousness as a whole. I feel like there is actually going to be quite a big shift for this pile, where actually, really ironically and almost paradoxically, as more Aquarius energy comes in, this is also the time when you start to connect in even more to being a human and having a human experience, while at the same time still holding this innovative energy that you have as this more kind of like alien type of consciousness and intellect kind of thing, which is just kind of thinking outside of the norms compared to how most human beings do. So I can kind of feel like there's going to be this real almost like balancing of these different aspects within you. And I do think ultimately what it does is it brings a huge amount of creative innovation with the Page of Matches and also the 10 of Matches. This is just so much fire energy, and it's so much passion, and all I can be really aware of is there's a point of energy there, and there's also a massive point of energy there. And it feels like in 2021 you really do go from an idea, an innovation, or a situation occurs, and it literally just like almost like lights you up, and that's it, you're off and you're inspired and you go and you get flow. And this is something as well that's come out for the other ones to do with it, well, just generally to do with you know, the Aquarius energy. And remember, we also channeled your one card for all of you is the Eight of Wands. So again, it's this real fast energy and all the rest of it, of inspiration. I do just really feel, particularly with this Ten of Wands here, this is not about a burden anymore. This is about a sudden actual, it's the release of a burden, because now you can fully, the energy is more fully supportive of you and what you want and how you communicate and how you express yourself. And again, like I say, there's this whole kind of shift in collective consciousness about what we all value as a human species. And we will really start to value the Aquarius type of values like community, innovation, intellect, power with the people, you know, all of this type of energy. And it does really feel like this means that actually in a very short space of time, but I am hearing it's over a few years. For you guys, it's over the time that actually Saturn is in Aquarius, which is from basically 2021 till about March 2023. You know, something is really going to come almost like from the idea and the inception to the completion, and also almost like the, with this card here, the World, not just the completion of it, but almost like the recognition. I'm really seeing the World card for you guys as very much a collective recognition in some way to do with whatever it is that you are creating or you're wanting to create in your life, in whatever way that might be. And obviously this can be anything from career to money to relationship to having children to, I don't know, entrepreneurship, whatever it is. It just feels like things will come through very, very fast. Now, just give me a minute, just while I'm feeling into the King of Vases. I do really feel like there is going to be a call for you guys to really go into your emotional energy in terms of, I don't know, there's something about you guys that we have to remember. Aquarius is the water bearer, right? So even though it's an air sign, it also has this real connection with water. And I think a lot of you will start to realize, or maybe you do already, or something will happen in the future, that part of the way that you truly get your innovative ideas is through the flow of emotions. And what I mean by that is it's by not using your mind to stop you feeling certain things. When you allow your mind to not try and control how you're feeling, you'll also recognize, or you'll also notice that suddenly your mind has way more ability to channel other types of energy that kind of tap more into a psychic space like emotional energy does. And I'm hearing that it will allow you guys to kind of tap more into this kind of like, you know, the ether, you know, like obviously how ideas come from, let's just say collective consciousness, or they come from the universe or whatever. By you not using your mind to control your emotions, you free up your mental capacity, and that mental capacity can start therefore channeling and downloading way more creative ideas, inspiration, divine guidance. Some of you will really start hearing your spirit guides more, all of that kind of thing. But then I'm also hearing that something quite important with the Aquarius archetype as well with this is when you get these ideas, when you get these downloads, if you keep them for yourself, it will be the same thing as somehow your mind's trying to control your emotions, and it will cause a blockage with this, or it will slow it down, or something will happen. So it's really important that when you get these ideas, like you are implementing them, and this is the most important word of all, that you are sharing them. I'm hearing that, like with the King of Vases, you have this real responsibility in 2021 to really be sharing your ideas, be sharing your thoughts. You know, even if it's just with a friend, and maybe you have this awareness to do with them, like it is, I'm hearing that it is important for you to be sharing that with that person, and that you will know how to do it in an emotionally tactful and diplomatic way as well. Because obviously you're not like a fire energy, let's say, that can sometimes come in and just blurt it out. And I can say that because I have this fire energy within me with my moon, and sometimes I can totally be prone to doing that. However, like a lot of air signs, like some of my friends and my brother, they absolutely have the power to basically say whatever they want to say, because they will never be doing it in an aggressive way. They will never be doing it in an aggressive way. And this is something that I'm really hearing with this. When you are also going into sharing ideas, or maybe you're going to be saying something that not everybody will agree with, or maybe you are going against the grain with something, or you're going against the status quo in some type of way, which is often an Aquarius type of energy as well. Know that if you do it with a certain amount of diplomacy and do it diplomatically, it won't cause aggression. And I'm just hearing that this is really, really important, particularly because the energy in the air for 2021 globally will have this potential lightning bolt friction. And I think it's just that you just want to be just mindful of that within yourself as well. So whenever you're going into a point of opposition, I think there's something about doing it diplomatically and doing it calmly and coolly and doing it from a place of high emotional intellect, because I'm really getting that with the King of Vases. Because as well, you know what it's like, if you're truly going to be an innovator, if you're truly going to affect or cause change, I do see that from the Akashic Records, like in the past as a species, we've got change through resistance, through fighting, through rebelling, through revolution, right? But you see, I know that this is a revolutionary energy that we're going into, but we are much more evolved as a species now. So there is a new way to do revolution. And I'm hearing that one of the most powerful ways you can do revolution is by engaging with opposing ideas or with an opposition in a cool, emotionally intelligent and diplomatic way, because it will mean, I'm hearing that it will cause, like, you know, if this is with you and another person, or you in a work situation, or even you within yourself, right, when you go at something without an aggressive, intense kind of energy, a rebellious or kind of full-on energy, it allows the other person time to just relax. Whereas if you come into somebody with like bam, 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 full on, you come on really rebellious, really aggressively, then the other person usually will always react, unless they've also got a huge amount of emotional intelligence. So it's like understanding, I think this kind of energy is key, that use emotional intelligence and calm things down when you're going into a place of opposition, because this will mean that your opponent will stop and think and they won't react. And this will allow your ideas or your proposition to truly have its best chance of fully integrating into the opposition and potentially revolutionizing how the opposition sees things, if that makes sense. And you do this from this more intelligent, mindful, also again I'm hearing the word compassionate kind of place. And I'm just getting that this is really, really important. Really, really important. It's like this softness that can come in with the softness can come in with the revolution. Bear in mind that also I'm talking about from the Akashic Records almost like the highest potential within this energy. And obviously probably as a collective species, majority of us maybe won't vibrate to that space, but it doesn't mean that you can't not. And I'm just really getting that you guys really, really can. Yeah, that's interesting. Right, let me just pull a couple more here. So I just want to say again, because it's just my guys, it looks like telling me to, the King of Vases really, really is about this. It's really just saying emotional intelligence, emotional intelligence, emotional intelligence. And I'm also getting with this, you know, when we go back to this whole thing about systems, protocols, logarithms, and understanding your own patterns and your patterns from your own family and lineage and heritage, the more that you understand your own reactivity points, and I am hearing that a lot of those will be coming from this place of the past, the more you understand those, the less you will be triggered by them. And also the more that you will understand how to navigate reactive energy and how to harmonize it. So essentially you diffuse a situation. Because again, I'm really hearing it's very much, it's like looking for these win-win situations. But these win-win situations are going to be more, the way you'll get to them, you'll have to think more out of the box from now on in, put it that way, particularly in 2021, because the energy is definitely more volatile for sure. So because of that extra volatility, there is this extra need to really consider and think creatively about how to get a win-win. And I am hearing that for a lot of you, it's by also understanding, and this is where this whole compassion type of energy comes in again, and this understanding of your own wounds and how to handle your own wounds from the past, it gives you the ability of how to understand your opposition or the opposition, whatever it might be, or the point of tension from the other person's perspective. And by understanding the other person's perspective, you will then have a better appreciation of how to interact with that other perspective so that you can be an influencer and you can positively influence, if this makes sense, rather than going into a state of rebellion or revolution. It's kind of that kind of energy that I'm seeing coming in. Because again, I just keep really seeing, obviously, this image of like, now I'm seeing Mother Teresa as well. It's that real kind of like understanding how to connect into all of these different energies, all of these different experiences, and being able to come in with this calm kind of softness, despite maybe some quite intense situations or experiences going on, if that makes sense. So again, it just feels like you being like I'm hearing this, an emotional leader, and said another way, like a leader of emotional intelligence within every type of situation that you find yourself in. And again, I do feel like the important point about this I'm just hearing is it will make you vibrate higher, and it will also then, because you vibrate higher, you'll be more easier and closer to download these really amazing creative ideas that the universe has and wants to almost like bless you with. So again, try and make sure the booby trap would be to fall into some kind of like rebellious revolution within yourself or within reality, because it will cause more conflict within your energy field, and that will make it slightly harder for some of these creative ideas and innovative ways to come through. However, it's definitely about you expressing what is really important to you, and it's so important that you stay with your unique maverick ideas, opinions, but it's finding a new way to do this, to diffuse the opposition, to diffuse resistance, because not only is that good anyway for the situation, but like I say, it will keep your vibration high and it will make it easier for you to channel ideas and situations through. And as I say this, something really weird is going on with my jaw, so my TMJ, so it really is making me feel like, I don't know, it's like, do you guys know about this thing in meditation where, and I'm just being shown this, you know, in meditations, and I can't remember which, I don't know who it is, it's some kind of, I don't know, maybe a religion or a spiritual thing, or I'm not really sure what, but in meditation, like you touch your tongue with the top of your mouth or the roof of your mouth, because I think it's Taoism, because it makes a more, I don't know, a connection. It makes you an electrical circuit. And again, I think it does something about helping ideas come through the cosmos. So again, I'm getting that that's really important to have that kind of connection. But I'm also getting as well, like with the TMJ, if you grind your teeth at night, if you're really stressed, you get a lot of tension in the jaw. And I'm just seeing that again, it's that tension and stress that will disrupt the ability for you to be able to download these energies. So that's just something for you guys to consider. And I am seeing things like certain yoga exercises. If you do know that you grind your teeth, or you have a jaw thing, or you clench, you got to, on a deeper level, that's often about not expressing what you need to express. And that's also why I've just said it's so important that you do say what you need to say. It's really important you communicate what you need to communicate, but it's definitely about finding an intelligent and super smart and slick and compassionate way in which to do that. And I do really feel like you guys will do that. Whew. I just felt like all of that came out quick. Now on some note, just being shown how we're doing this now. So we do read some of these reversed if they come out reversed, apparently. Oh, wow. The Wheel of Fortune. Friggin' love the Wheel of Fortune. You see, this is it. You know when I said, again, that image from the beginning about Princess Diana, she went from completely nobody to then suddenly everybody knows her around the world because she's marrying a prince or whatever. It's this kind of real shift. It's like a real shift that I do feel is coming for you guys in 2021. And then we have 3 of Pentacles in reversed. I always think of this as like my mind is many minds, like tapping into many different ideas and different people's perspectives. But I'm also feeling with this, it's I don't know, there's something really important about you keeping your ears open. That sounds a really weird thing to say. Just give me a minute. God, you've got to tell me better than that. It makes 0 sense. One sec. Okay, now what I'm actually getting interesting with this, and it is intuitively, is you've got to make sure that your body, mind and soul are in alignment with your desires and what it is that you really want. And again, I'm hearing that it's really important that for you to do this, you really do have to be expressing it, like very much like saying it is what I'm hearing. It's really important for you to say what it is that you really want, what it is that you really desire. And not just that, but also just say how you're really feeling in the moment, or however things are. Like this free flow of communication about your feelings, about where you're at, about your thoughts and beliefs, it is really, really important. But I'm also hearing that as well as that, it's so, so important that you also listen to what other people are also saying, especially if it's in opposition to what you were saying or how you were feeling. I'm hearing again that this is where there's the real creative point of tension, but it's like super creative, and it's something to, I don't know, because now my third eye chakra is going off, and it's also telling me that when you're really saying what it is that you need to say, and you're also truly open to listen to what somebody else is saying, for you guys, I'm just really seeing that it really kind of lights up your third eye chakra and also your seventh chakra on top of your head. And this kind of allows you to then almost get a third download of information to do with whatever's been talking about, because it comes through from the universe. But it's something about you first truly expressing how you feel, and then you also being totally able to listen to what somebody else is saying, that kind of opens up now this third way to do with this kind of like universal energy coming into you and the other person. And I'm just getting that is really, really important. And again, I just keep seeing this TMJ and this jaw and a skeleton. Like, it's just so important that you are really, you know, sometimes if you do feel angry as well and frustrated, it is about you saying you feel angry and frustrated, because it's not, you don't have to worry about detaching from those emotions or not accepting those kind of emotions in you. Because I'm also hearing that with all the fire energy, which I'm really just seeing as creative energy coming into you guys in 2021, you don't want to also dissociate from the creative fire energy that's coming into you, but so that you're open to this creative fire energy that will give you ideas and innovations and the drive to do things and the motivation. Another part of this energy is anger and frustration, and it's really important that you don't dissociate from the anger and the frustration, and that you just find a way to communicate that in some way, because you can do that because you can do that in a way that, like I say, it won't be aggressive to other people. It's just purely your frustration or your anger, and you have every right to feel like that or say like that or whatever it might be. I'm just kind of getting that is really important. Now here, okay, and then we have the Two of Voices in reversed. So I'm actually really reading this as often the Two of Voices, the Two of Swords, it's all about indecision. I actually really do feel like if you are expressing your emotions, if you're saying what you need to, if you're listening to other people, if you're using emotional intelligence, if you are understanding your patterns and your past triggers, and therefore understanding how to emotionally connect or just connect better with other people because of that, and you're truly enjoying having this human experience more, I think a lot of overthinking and also indecision about things is literally just going to, I'm just hearing, fade away. It's completely going to fade away. And it's actually, because I do really feel like with this door here being now at the top, even though it's upside down, I really do feel like this is partly you walking into a whole new reality, because again, there's something about your mind has got so much energy and so much potential that when it gets either, that mind energy gets channeled into you either overthinking or indecision or being hard on yourself or almost trying to suppress emotions of how you're feeling in some way, you're like losing so much of this maverick potential energy that you have to really innovate within your life. And I think it's when you start realizing that this is when all of these opportunities kind of come in. That's really interesting. Okay, I'm just getting a message, 1 second. Again, I'm hearing we need to put it on blue cards. So I guess, again, this is, it does really feel like your throat chakra and your third eye chakra. Wow, they're really activated, but so is your soul star chakra, your ninth star above your head. I really see that one like really powerful as well. So just give me 1 second. Okay, so obviously you probably guys might know how this goes now. I just get channeled these messages. Often they sound totally and utterly crazy, but we go into them in the extended and then we pull out additional cards for them, so we will do that. And I just got, the Akashic Records said, snakes in the grass are looking for your shoes. So I've got no idea what that means, but obviously we will go into that. Now let's just get some oracle cards. Again, I also feel like, you know, the systems, the logarithms, or the organisation, the clearing out the clutter, all of that kind of thing. I think that's also going to help you get out of overthinking or a space of indecision. I think you'll be so surprised how much energy, and particularly mental energy, comes to you when you are putting into place all of these different things that we've talked about, particularly because so much energy is going to be coming in for the Aquarius archetype. Like huge with the Saturn square Uranus, also with the Jupiter Saturn conjunction in Aquarius. It really is massive. So let's see. And as well, I massively feel this like compassionate humanitarian vibe for you guys, massively. But at the same time, I still really, I can see the image of a person, this is metaphorical obviously, who's basically like half human and half alien. And it's the coming together of both of them that kind of creates this new type of human being and human experience. And I'm being shown it's kind of like it's like this Aquarius energy almost coming in with this like Cancer energy, believe it or not. So like Cancer the crab, and it's like the blending of like a completely out of their perspective with a completely sort of like home and nurturing perspective, and both of these two like kind of almost opposing energies coming together and integrating and creating this new way of being, this kind of like third way, as it were. And I do keep hearing third way. So 2 of these, and then just one more. This one. Okay. So let's see. So we have Star Ancestor. I love this. Follow the voice of your soul. I mean, I feel like that energy is so much for you guys. So much. Then we have Beyond the Mind. Again, this totally reminds me of your kind of Aquarius energy. Then we have, oh wow, Tracy Emin, the artist. Don't hide your dirty sheets in the washer. Concentrate on finding, not losing yourself in art. Decay can be a fertilizer for new ideas. Oh, I love that. We'll totally explore that energy in the extended for sure. And we have Stand Still. And then we have, oh wow, the Equator. To make equal. I really feel like this again is this thing about the blending of opposites, and it's a different way of creating a revolution. It's a completely different way of creating a revolution. And then we have, okay, Supernova, Outburst, Explosion, Surprise. I mean, for sure, this is epically the energy that's going off in 2021. Oh wow, another powerful card. And then we also have the Magician, Aries, Leadership, Impulse, the First, and Opportunity. Cool. Okay, so what we will do is we'll take this into the extended. We'll obviously go into this message. We'll also channel this crystal, and we'll go into all of the oracle cards and get more messages out. And last of all, we'll also do a reading. I'll pick a card for you guys from the I Ching, and I'll just read it out of the book so you can get your personalized message with what it wants to tell you. Cool, so lots to explore. I'm really interested about what this means. But anyway, I hope to see you in the extended. You can find that on my website, abigailgracepsychic.com. You can also find me on Instagram and Facebook on Abigail Grace Psychic. Pretty much all my social medias, because I've been trying some new ones as well. Because my guys did tell me last year that there was very much new ones coming up and to get on them early. So maybe that's going to be useful for some of you guys too. And again, this is why this thing about having things organised and into systems is really important, so that when new opportunities occur, you can quickly apply yourself to this new opportunity, because the way that you apply yourself, you have already got like a protocol for it in some way. So for example, for me, it would be I have easy access to re-upload all of my videos onto a new kind of platform, and it's all organized and it's all in systems. So the moment one comes up and I know it's the opportunity, I can quickly apply myself to that opportunity because of how I've stored everything and because of how I've ordered everything. That's just kind of like an example, and there'll be in some way you can apply that example to your life, and it will help to give you leverage. And it's kind of like getting prepared for opportunities coming in the future, essentially. And getting prepared is part of the organization, and the lack of like clutter and the lack of indecision and little clarity, if that makes sense. Cool. So, or you can also find me on my other YouTube channel, See It Like a Psychic. I do actually recommend, with what's come up here, maybe have a look at the highest potential of the Aquarius archetype and the highest potential of the Gemini archetype, just because this is some of the energy that we've kind of like been talking about, and I think it will spark off new ideas for you. So yeah, have a look in there. And then last of all, just know that you can use these readings however you want. They're timeless throughout all of 2021, and ideally the most effective way for these Akashic record readings is come at any time during the year, ask your intuition to tell you which zodiac sign has the answer you most need to hear right now. And even if it is Taurus and you have nothing significant to do with Taurus in your astrology, don't worry, just go to Taurus, because the Akashic records work completely abstract and non-linear, and so one of the best ways to interact with them is also in that abstract non-linear type of way, which is why often I'll use a lot of examples and metaphors and stuff like that, because it really is almost like, well, it is very much like a library, if you know what I mean, like a library of ideas and connections and all the rest of it. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed that reading, and hopefully I'll see you on the extended. Bye. So thank you for letting me read for you. That was totally my pleasure. If you'd like the extended reading, you just need to go over to my website on abigailgracepsychic.com. I'll leave all the links below. There's the choice for you to buy one reading, one extended reading, or multiple extended readings, and there's different packages that you can go for, so that you can get the most out of it. Just bearing in mind that 2020 was crazy and 2021 is still very much a huge tipping point, and so much new energy is coming in. But when anything begins, there are always unpredictable moments. There's different things that kind of go off. So hopefully these readings, particularly if you use them in whatever way your intuition tells you to, you'll be able to get the most out of how you can leverage whatever situation you find yourself in 2021. Also, just bearing in mind that these readings are relevant anytime in 2021, and you can come back to these readings and you might find different numbers become relevant to you. So just be as creative and intelligent as possible with all of these readings, so you can leverage any situation and you can do awesome, because I do believe we all can. Speak to you soon.